Artist Abe gives his ever-present gaze over Babcock Field here in Washington, and in true Abe Lincoln fashion, to be completely honest with you, the winner of tonight's WMBD Game of the Week will clinch playoff eligibility here in Week 6. On one side is the East Peoria Raiders at 4-1, looking to get back in the playoffs for their first time since 2012 and get a big win on the road. On the other side, the Washington Panthers looking to defend home turf, win their 23rd straight Mid-Atlantic night game, and continue their winning tradition. Good evening, everyone. Jonathan Michael here in the booth alongside John Shikoda. And John, again, this is a big game here in Week 6. Both teams 4-1. The winner gets a pretty good prize at the end of it.
Yeah, John, they get to finally, for East Peoria, you talked about a little bit. It's been a while since they've been in the playoffs, so this win will mean a lot, not only for the players, obviously, but for the program. They'll finally be able to get to extend their season in the playoffs. And as for Washington, they're looking to continue their dominance in the Mid-Atlantic Conference.
They certainly are, but going back to East Peoria, again, it's a team that hasn't been able to beat Washington in quite some time. I checked on Max Preps earlier today. What goes back to 2004. Could not find a time East Peoria had beaten Washington, so the Panthers have dominated this rivalry as of late. And even though both teams are 4-1, I think a lot of people know that they are the heavy favorites here tonight.
Yeah, and you and I were talking a little bit before we started today. It's a very different 4-1. It's very similar, like I told you, the Chiefs 0-2 when the Bears were 0-2. It's two very different records, but nonetheless, same record, so it's going to be a competitive game. You know that, and it's also a Mid-Atlantic Conference game. All of those games are competitive, and you know it as well as I do.
Most certainly. A lot of fans packing in here at Babcock Field tonight. It's homecoming for Washington. All the fans still coming in here just before kickoff. But, John, looking at East Peoria, they have a lot of offensive weapons. They'll be going up against a Washington defense that has been very stout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a battle of two of the strongest offense and defenses, and they're both going to be battling each other at the same exact time. So it's going to be a great watch for you guys listening and watching, and for you and I commentating this game. It's going to be a very interesting battle as both team strengths are going to be on the field at the same time.
Well, strap in. Week 6 underway here on CIProud.com, powered by Clutch Sports Media. We caught up with Washington head coach Todd Stevens before this one.
Yeah, we saw a lot of positive the other night from everybody. I mean, we got a lot of guys in. And when we put our reserves in, they didn't let up. Those guys were getting after it when they got on the field. Made it a goal before the game to try and score on defense. Didn't get that done, but our special teams, obviously, that's something that we've been working on as well, trying to get them in the end zone, and we did get a few of those as well. And they're very well coached. I mean, they're going in the right direction. Right now we tell our guys they're one win away from a playoff qualifier. So they need that one win, and they're going to scrap and do everything they can to try to get that. Well, I think it all is going to be based on the phases of offense, defense, special teams. We got to keep getting better in all those phases, and we've kind of challenged ourselves this week to continue to work on us. Even today we started getting back into fundamentals. We started getting back to the stuff that we did during the summertime. You can get kind of lazy with some of those fundamentals when you get later into the season. We start working today again on stances, starts, back to square one to make sure we're not sloppy there and continue, the push through the rest of the season.
And welcome into Babcock Field. The band giving us a great show here before this one. And Jonathan Michael here alongside John Shikoda. The stands are about as packed as they come here for homecoming, John. There's nothing much better than seeing stands completely full for a high school football game on a Friday night.
Yeah, exactly. And, it was a little warmer earlier in the day, but now we got a nice little breeze out, John. So it's actually a good weather at kickoff, which is, if you told me that 4 hours ago, I would have thought you're insane. But, no, great weather right now, and the breeze feels really nice. But, yeah, the crowd is awesome. Even on the East Peoria side, they got a good little crowd over there, too. So
again, East Peoria, Washington, not separated by much. Just a few miles between these two schools, and looking for a big game here in our WMBD Game of the Week tonight on CIProud.com. Again, all of our Clutch Sports Media crew here alongside with us as well. And, John, the Panthers are about ready to take the field. We'll try and stick with you guys until they do so. But we're talking about the uniform matchup, and it looks like the Panthers, we don't want to spoil it too much for you, but they're going to be wearing some pretty slick orange jerseys, all orange, tops and bottoms here tonight.
Yeah, and that's something you kind of like, right? It looks like an alternate, right? Because when you see black, white, and orange, you think of black and white as the specific jersey colors. But an orange color uniform is something that that is different. So I really like this look for Washington. I'm excited to see what it looks like on the field.
Definitely. Well, teams are getting ready to take the field. We'll step aside for a quick break. Come right back here to Babcock Field in Washington. Raiders, Panthers, coming up next on CIProud.com.
Central Illinois, we're going to overtime. After 4 years of preps coverage in Central Illinois, Clutch Sports Media is ready for a new era. CSM Overtime.
What is CSM Overtime? We're going beyond the broadcast to give you in-depth coverage of your teams,
Your stories.
Your stats and standings.
your highlights and action shots.
With your subscription, you'll get to see news and feature stories from all sports, up-to-date stats from around the area, and thoughtful analysis from our team of experts.
As for our broadcast and social media coverage, it's only getting better.
With your support of Clutch Sports Media Overtime, we'll continue to grow our free broadcast coverage with more sports, more games, and more innovation.
And thanks to our partnership with Too Efficient Media, your social media feeds will be filled with Central Illinois' best sights and sounds.
CSM Overtime will also give you access to full galleries from some of the most talented photographers and videographers in our region.
As the new season approaches, it's time for more.
More action.
More stories.
More coverage of all Central Illinois sports. It's Clutch Sports Media Overtime.
And there's those orange jerseys that we talked about the Panthers are wearing here tonight. Again, they just took the field. Great scene here in Washington as Week 6 gets underway. And, John, we were talking briefly again, just kind of setting the scene. The weather, it's pretty hot for it being Week 6 here tonight. Again, about 78 or so degrees, but it is cooling off, and there's really no chance for rain at all.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if you told me that on October 3rd it was going to be 85 degrees in the middle of the day, I would have thought you're insane. But, yeah, the weather's starting to look more like a nice September night than a early October night. But I'm not complaining. The nice little breeze is really nice. So great weather, and should be a great game for us tonight.
It should be. And, John, again, take a look at the Mid-Illini standings here real quick. And right now, again, both teams near the top of it right now. Dunlap up top at 3-0. They're 5-0 in conference play, but Washington and EP right behind them. It's a very competitive conference right now. We could see potentially as many as maybe even 5 or 6 teams make the playoffs out of this conference.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I look right at the top of this conference. There's so many teams with 4 wins in this conference. It feels like this is going to be a very competitive conference. And like I was telling you a little bit before, it feels like every conference game in the Mid-Illini game is a state playoff game.
It really does. There's a lot of good games every week this season. Again, we got this one for you here. Also, our Clutch Sports Media Game of the Week, you can watch on ClutchSportsIL.com, is between Pekin and Metamora. It should be a good one over there as well. And Pekin just coming off a big win over Morton last week. So, again, our eyes on a lot of different things going on. And then, John, let's take a look at the happened last week for both these teams. Very opposite results. East Peoria lost big to Dunlap, their first of the season. Washington, meanwhile, put up 41 points in the first quarter against Limestone.
Yeah, East Peoria got their first real test of the season this year, and it was Dunlap, and Dunlap showed them what's up, and I think that's a very good character-building loss heading into this game. This is an even harder and hostile environment. And Washington, on the other hand, 69 points, that's something that you don't see a lot. So you don't want to get too lazy on the offensive side of the ball today. You're coming in hot, right? You just scored almost 70 points. So you got to kind of come in and still try and destroy the other team, not come off lazy like you were. Right, you're up. You scored 69 points. You don't want to come on a little slow, flat-footed.
That's the one thing Todd Stevens was saying. He says that we just need to get back to fundamentals and make sure we're still sticking to those here before this one. Quick word again for Clutch Sports Media Overtime. Follow the schools and stories you care about. Plenty of coverage every day of the week. And subscribe today at clutchsportsisle.com/overtime or scan the QR code on your screen. We're going to take a quick break and be right back here with Babcock Field with more pregame coverage and kickoff here between Washington and East Peoria.
We are Local Union 649. Our commitment to safety, our state-of-the-art training facility, and our pride in the work we do to build America is what makes us stand out from the rest. We are Local 649 of the International Union of Operating Engineers, and we are looking for the next generation of equipment operating apprentices. With Local 649, you'll find more than a career. You'll find a family, creating legacies since 1917.
We believe solar energy should be as dependable as the sun itself. Now, imagine your energy company felt the same way. In an industry full of overblown promises and hazy fine print, we're here to be the light in the dark. Ready to explore solar with a partner you can trust? Visit www.suncollectors.solar.
Welcome back here to Washington. Taking a look at our key players tonight, John. For East Peoria, we're looking at R.J. Jackson, their junior running back, going to be a dynamic player to watch here tonight.
I mean, if you look at this dude's stats, he does not look like a junior at all. On the season, John has 92 rush attempts, 729 yards, averaging almost 8 yards a rush. So really great on him today.
For sure. And for Washington, we're looking at Noah Garcia, their sophomore quarterback. Very young, but making a big impression here in his first varsity season.
Yeah, very young, but does not look like he's very young when he plays the game. It looks like a very mature and seasoned quarterback, so I'm really excited to watch him today.
Getting ready for kickoff here. East Peoria will get the ball first. They'll get the first chance to take it against the Washington defense here, and we are away. Devin Miller sends it into the end zone, and it's a touchback for the Panthers. And, John, again, taking a look at our tail of the tape. Again, we talked about East Peoria's offense against Washington's defense. That really is the main kind of one to watch here tonight. To look at the Raiders, they average 33 points a game. Panthers give up just 10.
Yeah, so right, we were talking about it, and that graphic shows it. 10 points a game and a team that scores 33. Something's got to give in this game, and I'm really interested to see what gives, or if both offenses have a crazy scoring output tonight. So I'm really excited for that facet of the game.
Two teams that can definitely light it up. Raiders will start at the 20 with quarterback Dalton Oakman as they get a new ball here. So again, got to make sure you get the right ones out there. I'm not sure if they have the designated balls for kicking like they do in the NFL. Maybe forgot to switch it out. But regardless, we're ready to go here in Week 6. Oakman out of the shotgun with R.J. Jackson to his right. It'll be a pitch play to the right, and Washington right there, and the reinforcements wrap him up for a small loss.
And that's something, John, that I really want to see Washington do today to R.J. Jackson. We talked a little about him just before, but R.J. Jackson, when East Peoria wins, John, that's how East Peoria wins. They win through R.J. Jackson. R.J. Jackson is their go. When they win and are successful, so is R.J. Jackson. That showed last week. So East Peoria is looking to get this game started with R.J. Jackson through the ground.
And Jackson had a bit of a rougher week last week against Dunlap, and Raiders blew through their first 4 games for the most part. 4 encountered adversity for the first time last week. A pass from Oakman is incomplete. He was looking for Aiden Hinder. Senior wideout will make it 3rd and long. So East Peoria trying to get the screen game going on here pretty early. I don't mind that call.
No, not at all. Especially, right, you're in a insane crowd, right? Homecoming week. There's a bunch of people here. You want to try and get your body under your feet, right? You want to get comfortable in this crazy atmosphere game before it gets too deep. So I like the call, even though, right, it's not explosive, right? It's not a Hail Mary or something like that. It's something to get your feet wet and get comfortable in the start of the game, which you much rather have now rather than in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left.
So it'll be a 3rd and 10. Washington and Will Freeman, senior linebacker, showing blitz here, 3-man front for the Panthers. Here comes the front. Here's Oakman. Throwing is picked off. Caden Chadwick going to run this back for the Panthers. He's inside the 15, and Washington's defense comes away with a takeaway.
Yeah, and they capitalized, right? Oakman going into this game only had 2 interceptions on the year, so that is something that Oakman does not do at all. But they capitalized on a rare Daniel Oakman turnover.
Again, Oakman only had throw two picks all season coming in here tonight. But again, that time was under a bit of pressure and a kind of a wobbly ball that Caden Chadwick picked off for the Panthers. That's his second turnover he's gotten this year. He recovered a fumble a few weeks ago. So now we'll see Garcia in the Washington offense. Also includes A.J. Jones, their wide receiver, in his third week back. It'll be a handoff. Will Freeman running to the right side. He's got a hole. One play touchdown, but there is a late flag. I'll see what this flag is about. It's on the offense. It came in a bit late, but a hold there will erase the one-play scoring drive.
Yeah, and this is something that, talking to Coach, this is something that he really wanted to see his guys get rid of, even though, right, they haven't had many penalties going into this game. Last year was something that they had, and Coach was very adamant on trying to get rid of those mental mistakes, and we saw it right there. It took away 6 points. So that's something that Coach was hammering pregame and something that bit him right there.
So it'll be now 1st and goal from the 14-yard line. And you're right, John. Washington, we asked Todd Stevens what's different about this team compared to a year ago. He said by now we're committing a lot less penalties as a handoff goes to Freeman. And a good ankle tackle there made by 14 on the defense. That's Mason Watson, a senior linebacker.
Yeah, and Will Freeman's not an easy guy to tackle, right, John? You and I got the pleasure to talk to him before the game. That's a big kid. So being able to hold on to his legs when he's run, he's got some strong legs under him. So being able to hold him down and not let him get loose there is a nice tackle there by East Peoria.
And East Peoria, they cannot afford to let Freeman gain those 5-6 chunk yards. They got to bring him down for short yardage tonight. Here's 2nd down. Garcia looking to throw and nearly picked off. Aiden hindered like a heat-seeking missile was coming in there against A.J. Jones.
That is a dangerous ball, right? Usually when you think of Aiden hindered, you think of him on the offensive side of the ball, but almost made a very big impact play there on defense. And this is something that you haven't seen a lot this year from Garcia. Only has 1 turnover on the year. So 2 quarterbacks that don't turn the ball over a lot have been in dangerous zones, and we're only 2 minutes into this game.
And Garcia's only thrown 1 pick this year as well, so it'll now be 3rd and goal here for the Panthers. Raiders showing some blitz. Freeman trying to keep the legs churning. He's going to be brought down by Devin Hinkle, and there's another flag down on this one. And if you're East Peoria, John, if this is on Washington, would you decline this penalty, make it 4th down?
I think you got to, right? No matter what, let's say worst comes to worst, they get either 3 points or you stop them on 4th down and you get the ball basically right back to where you started the game with. So I think it's they don't get the points. You give up 3 points. That's much better than what it could have been if you didn't have that hold. So this could be a win-win situation for East Peoria out of the ball where they had it basically inside their 20.
Well, it was a face mask on the Raiders, so it will make it half the distance to the goal. 3rd and goal from about the 2.5-yard line or so. Going the 2-point conversion part of the playbook right now if you're the Panthers. Here's a handoff. Freeman busting it through into the end zone. He's in there standing up and almost untouched.
So Freeman made up, right? They didn't give him a touchdown earlier. He said, all right, I'll just do it again. This is something that Freeman has done Will Freeman has done a great job of in building his sort of agility and speed. And when we talked to him earlier, something that he really was proud of is what he did is how he's changed his body from last year, John. He was a fullback for Washington and the Panthers, and this year he sort of made that adjustment to a full-time running back. So something that Freeman's been very proud of is how he's been able to sort of change into basically a full-time running back now.
It is, again, one of the larger talking points around the area. Devin Miller with gusto putting it through the uprights. That one nearly leaving the stadium. It makes it 7-0 Panthers. So overall, Washington gets a turnover. They punch it in quickly, and East Peoria, John, is going to have to find an answer if they don't want to, again, be climbing up that mountain here early on.
Yeah, and another thing, you see this even in the pros still, John. Turnover in field position is such a huge thing in football, and you saw that right there. If that drive starts on the other side of the field at Washington's 10, 15-yard line, could be a completely different score right now. Could be a completely different game right now. But giving that ball up and giving Washington, which is such a dominant offense and strong run offense, that ball with like 20, 15 yards to go is something that East Peoria cannot afford to do in the rest of this game today.
again, you can ill afford to make many mistakes against Washington. They're a team that, again, we've seen them twice already. At least I have seen them twice already this year and many years past. And, again, it's a team that requires almost perfection if you want to beat them. And there's a reason they've won 22 Mid-Illini games in a row. So Miller will get set to kick things away. It'll be Aiden Hinder, one of the deep men, back to return for East Peoria alongside Eddie Fincham, a sophomore wide receiver who's got a lot of big playability. Oh, Miller will send this one away from the bright neon-colored tee. And that one will go into the end zone. John, let's take a look at our keys to the game tonight for East Peoria. Well, they're going to have one right now. They got to find the answers to Washington's punches they throw. And, again, they got to do put the fun in fundamentals. They really got to do those big here today.
Yeah, and then, kind of to build on that punches, right? You got to punch back right here with a scoring drive, a long drive, that ideally you can drain some clock and tire out this Washington defense, which is something that Washington is really good at doing. So kind of see if East Peoria can give Washington a taste of their own medicine. And
for Washington, for them, they want to bring pressure. They want to make life tough on Oakman. They already have tonight. And then they got one in guard against big yards. East Peoria has shown a big knack for big playability through the first 5 weeks of the season.
Totally, yeah. That's kind of East Peoria's bread and butter, is quick, fast plays that open up the field just like that. So really interesting.
Oakman's got a heck of an arm. We'll see if we'll see it later tonight on some deep balls. Jackson scurries forward for about a yard before falling down again. Jackson, a junior, standing at 5'8", 200 pounds. So not the biggest runner in the world, but again, one that's got a lot of potential. As they get set here on 2nd and 9. Panthers again show pressure. The 4-man front. Oakman going to kill off the play call and draw up something new. Play clock, plenty of time left. 26 seconds left to go. Jackson will go out in motion. Oakman looking his way. He's going to throw it down the field looking for Hinder. There were 2 Panthers in the area, including A.J. Jones.
That's a dangerous ball there, John. Double coverage, right? It looks like a zone/man coverage right there. That ball looks like it needs to be either perfectly placed or that ball could have been intercepted. And Oakman kind of got lucky there with that ball being a little bit overthrown so that his receiver could not get that. But that's a dangerous ball and a dangerous play. Washington's defense, yes, it's very early in the game, but they have looked really, really good so far.
They certainly have, again, allowing just 10 points a game and allowed 2 long plays to Limestone last week, but other than that, we're pretty stout all game long. Here's a 3rd and 9. Oakman trying to avoid turning it over on back-to-back possessions. Fincham goes in motion. Oakman looking for the screen pass. Is picked off by Joe Smith. And the defensive end is not going to get the big man touchdown, but he gets tripped up right at the 5. And Dalton, and you can blame the broadcaster's jinx there, as Oakman didn't need to turn it over. And Joe Smith got right in there and sets up Washington in perfect field position.
Yeah, John, that was almost a play very similar to, I don't know if you watched that Bears game last week, but Max Crosby last week made a very similar play. T.J. Watt as well in the Ireland game. So it looks like the NFL skills are starting to translate over to the high school ball in Illinois. But, yeah, that's a very impressive play by a defensive lineman to read the quarterback's eyes and be able to sort of jump that ball. And, we almost got a big man touchdown tonight.
We almost did. Here's 1st and 5. As Freeman back untouched into the end zone again for the 2nd time in a matter of exactly 60 seconds.
So, wow, I mean, just like that, it's a 2-score game right now for East Peoria. They got to find a way to really battle. They haven't done a crazy amount of offense, but then again, it's so early in the game. You're still so early on in the first quarter that, yes, you don't want to be down 2 scores ever, but you'd much rather be down 2 scores in the first quarter than any other quarter.
Most definitely. But again, Raiders looking to find an answer as Miller will line this one up and put a big swing into it. That one is up and good. 14-0 Panthers here, just 3 minutes and 10 seconds into this one. And, John, there really hasn't been a lot of, kind of rhythm to this game for the players because Washington's defense is going to go right back out there, and East Peoria's offense is going to have to very quickly regroup.
Yeah, it hasn't really been. You haven't really been able to get in a flow, especially for the East Peoria defense, right? You've kind of been thrown right in the ringer right when you got in. You've had to defend when you basically inside the 20 on both sides of the ball. So a really interesting game. Also really fast scoring game. Not the usual Washington long methodic drives.
Yep.
They've had 2 really fast drives. And John, I would bet my money that this ball by Devin Miller is going to go in the end zone. Just watching his 2 PAT attempts and how they almost went out of the actual stadium, this ball I think might be landed in the end zone.
And there is a good wind coming out of the south tonight, about 7-8 miles an hour. It's gusting up, I would guess, a little bit more than that right now. And Miller, we were talking about, again, just offers so much to this Washington team, and a guy that I think is looking to kick at the next level, garnering some college interest, even at the Division I level as well. And his one nearly goes through the goalpost, bounces, hits the bottom of the crossbar, actually. It's a good target practice there from the senior. But, John, Washington showing right now just exactly why they're in the Class 6A top 10. They're ranked number 7 right now. You see Dunlap up there at number 5. But look at this, 6A top 10, a lot of great schools up there. And Washington, with a big performance, could move up even more.
Yeah, and John, it's not a coincidence that 2 teams from the Mid-Atlantic are in the top 6, right? I mean, that's something that shows how great this conference is and why every game feels like a state playoff game.
Has been a good one so far this year. Big 12 has also been pretty competitive as well. Bloomington Normal Community, again, we have our eye on here tonight. But Oakman, for the 3rd time, will start at the 20 and hand off to Jackson. And he gets pile-driven down by the man that just made the last big play. It's Joe Smith.
Joe Smith is making his presence known, and I keep on relating it right to that Max Crosby game that he was terrorizing my Bears, but it looks like Joe Smith is doing the same thing to the East Peoria Raiders today, right? A hard tackle right there, and was able to do something that the linemen are not known to do, is read the quarterback's eyes and make a nice pick right there. So Joe Smith has sort of been dominating the East Peoria line tonight.
And, yeah, running to the right side hasn't yielded much for this Raiders front so far. Again, the right side is led by their right tackle, Aiden Hasty, who's a 6'4", 300-pound junior for the Raiders. 2nd team all-conference last year. That's where their more stronger side is as Hinder goes in motion. Passing down here, 2nd and 10. Oakman looking to throw. And again, draped all over him. That was Kamar Mack on Washington.
Yeah, I mean, this coverage looks like, I mean, I know people say blanket coverage as a use of term. It's just literally blanket coverage. I mean, that ball, even if that ball is thrown perfectly, that the likelihood of that being caught is so low. We have seen a very great – Washington has lived up to the hype of allowing only 10 points a game as they've looked like that defense.
It'll be another 3rd and long here for the Raiders. And so this is a big situation now for Oakman. Mountain is already steep enough. Want to just get, even if you don't score here, just get something to start kind of moving the chains. He did move the chains a little bit against Washington last year, and Todd Stevens knows very well what he is capable of, but still looking for his answer so far. And the southpaw drops back and air it out, looking for Keemon Lee, and overthrew him. Little bit of contact there, but I don't believe I see a flag. That was, there is a flag back near the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that was a very physical play, but it looks like the refs are letting them play on the outside, which is something that makes the viewership for us, right, a little more interesting. But, yeah, we've seen a lot of East Peoria sort of mental mistakes, which is something that both coaches have kind of been practicing. We don't want to be doing that, especially, right, Week 6. You can't really do that as much as you were early on in the season.
This is a good point for sure. It will be a penalty on the Raiders. So it looks like penalty is declined. It'll be 4th down, so Raiders will bring out the punt unit here, but this time at least they'll try and at least give a longer field to Washington. Landon Vaughn will come out to punt for the Raiders. Vaughn's a senior at 6 foot 185, who also plays a little bit of running back and linebacker. So that's the beauty of high school football, John, is usually your kickers and your punters are also usually play another position or two.
Yeah, and I'm looking out also for Washington's return man, A.J. Jones. He has a big impact, as we were talking to Coach Stevens.
He returned a punt for a touchdown last week. Won't get a chance to here as that ball bounces around and is down at the 49 there by Fincham.
The first really drive we get to see of the Washington offense today is almost halfway through the first quarter. So Washington will finally be able to have a legit drive instead of basically limited a very small playbook when you're inside the red zone. Now Washington will be able to finally get in a flow state and be able to start something on the offensive drive instead of really just running the ball when you're inside the 20-yard line.
Before we have the next play, we have a timeout.
And we'll get a timeout, actually, by East Peoria here with 7:39 to go. So they'll get a chance to set up their defense, which has only faced a few plays so far with those short scoring drives from Freeman.
Yeah, kind of. I was a little bit talking about that there before, but this is something Washington will be able to set up an actual drive and finally get some feet under it. Maybe we'll see Noah Garcia throw a little bit more on this specific drive.
We shall see what Todd Stevens and company draws up. Again, Stevens in his second year as Washington's head coach, and obviously they beat the Raiders last year, so Stevens looking to kind of keep his undefeated record, at least head coaching-wise, alive, but he has been in the area for quite some time. And, John, I know you guys had to meet him for the first time earlier this week, but always a fun guy to talk to.
No, yeah, and Coach Stevens, even though, right, this is his second season as a head coach here, he sounds like he has been here for years and years. He really knows this team really well, and for someone who, right, even though you've been coaching for a while, in your second season here at the team, he knows his team really well.
So Garcia will go play action on first down. Crossing route complete to their tight end, Camden Visconti, who pops right back up. In the NFL, you can do that, but once you're down in high school.
Yeah, that's one of the things that kind of stinks about these lower levels, right, of college and in high school. The lower levels of football is once you're down, which kind of stinks, right? You watch the NFL guys, that's who you want to be like. So that's one of the rare things that sucks about the lower levels of football.
And guys, see they guys pop right back up, but an 8-yard gain for Camden Visconti. Here's Will Freeman getting a handoff and a big tackle made there by Keegan Barnes and Asher Bailey combining on that stop. That was much needed for East Peoria.
Yeah, this is a big third down here for East Peoria. You know, we talked a little bit already about Devin Miller and his leg. Could this be a makeable field goal? Possibly, but if you can get another stop here, then you're looking at a questionable fourth down, and then it's in what is Coach Stevens going to do? Do you go for this, right? Because this is kind of in a weird position when you have Devin Miller, who has a really strong leg, or do you go on this on a 4th and short if you don't get it here, obviously?
And it'll be 3 wide receivers for Garcia and the Panthers. Garcia is going to keep this one. Gets a great push from his line. He's got the first down as long as he hangs on to the football. Washington will keep the ball, and that was a nice push there by the offensive front for Washington. Another good run for Noah Garcia. We've seen that quite a bit this season.
Yeah, and through 5 games, Noah Garcia has 53 rush attempts, 386 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He's got a touchdown on the ground in every single game. So
wow, it
is something that he's going to be alert and East Peoria is definitely aware of. He is going to be someone on the ground that you need to watch out for, along with, obviously, Will Freeman.
Yeah, there's a multi-faceted attack. Garcia, Freeman, also Kamar Mack, Evan Deasy. Could see getting some carries here tonight. Garcia going to keep it again, going up the gut. Going to get stood up at about the 31. So, again, those are those kind of 7-8-yard plays. Maybe not going to make the highlight reel, John, but if Washington can just put some of those together, it could end up being a long night for East Peoria.
Yeah, and another thing that I really have noticed, too, in Noah Garcia's first few rush attempts, his ball security has been really well, which, right, he's a younger guy. He's a sophomore, so sometimes those guys will kind of get a little cocky, feel themselves. Every time I've seen 2 hands on the ball from Noah Garcia, so he's been really great with holding on to the ball, and this Washington run offense has been potent.
So it's a gain of 6. Garcia will throw, looking deep down the field. He was looking for James Johnson. John, that was a player that Todd Stevens says might be a little bit more involved in the passing game this week.
Yeah, this is someone that Coach Stevens has been looking for as someone who could be an X factor in this game. He's one of the leading receivers on Washington, and he is someone that is a game changer, right? Coach Stevens said he doesn't do anything amazing. He does everything really well. Not amazing speed, really good speed, and something that I really liked and I really got from him, really physical receiver. So I'm really interested to see that on display tonight.
I caught up with him earlier this week and hear from him and Will Freeman at halftime. And speaking of Freeman, he gets the 3rd down call brought down by Devin Hinkle, big 6'2", 280 defensive end. It's going to set up a 4th down here, John, and Washington might just be keeping their offense on the field the way they've been able to run the ball pretty well mostly tonight.
Yeah, it would be around my math may be wrong. I'm not good at math. Around a 40 43, 44-ish kick. I might be a little bit wrong.
Yeah, right around 44. Here's a 4th and 1. They'll go with a you'll be sneaking a push back. This is going to be close, John. I think, though, early indication forward progress, I think is going to keep it with the orange and black.
Yeah, and I've talked about this in some of my other broadcasts this year, but the difference about this in the NFL is it's kind of a guesstimation spot. It's hard to really get the most accurate lining just on the sideline, right? And I'm not trying to throw any shade at the refs. It's a hard job to get an accurate spot on this ball on the sideline, and especially with Washington, how physical that run was and how physical they are, it's going to be hard to spot the ball every time.
Well, there is no automation of where the ball is on the field like the NFL is trying out this year as Johnson brings in the catch and picks up close to first down yardage. So, and it's kind of a revolution of, multiple different sports that we're seeing of, use of technology, helping, not taking over refs' jobs, but helping assist them make calls as well. I'm curious to know what it's going to look like maybe in 10, 20 years. Will we see something like that at the high school level? Who knows? It would be a long path, though.
Oh, no, yeah, it'll be a long path, but it's something, right? Something that I really think of last night in the Cubs-Padres game. You hear the announcer say, that's an ABS, that's a double head tap challenge. So we're seeing it in all sports. Here's
a handoff. And a touchdown for the Panthers. Will Freeman, a first-half hat trick. And Washington leads at 20-0.
Wow. You saw Will Freeman, that run. I feel like if you watch Will Freeman from last year into this year, that run is a perfect description of how much he's changed. Last year, he's not making that quick burst of speed and that run like that. You saw that burst of speed from Will Freeman, and his offseason work is really showing, especially tonight. With 3 touchdowns in the first half, it looks like Washington might be able to put up as much as 41 like they did, which, by the way, in one quarter is insane.
Well, we'll tell you how they did it here after this point after from Miller, which is up and good. So, again, Washington would still have 20 more points to go, but you would be wondering, how in the world do you score 41 points in a half? Well, they scored 5 touchdowns, had some short scoring drives, we got some turnovers, and were able to get some short fields, some big plays. They also had 3 safeties, I believe all of which were off blocked punts when Limestone had the ball deep in their own territory.
And you do not see you see blocked field goals every now and then, but blocked punts are something that I feel like is rare. To get 3 in one game, one quarter is insane. So Washington is right there. Defense gets a lot of praise, but their special teams should be getting a lot of praise too from that. You get 3 safeties. That's something you don't see a lot. So that's something that the special teams should be getting some praise for as well.
For sure. Well, Todd Stevens said that, one thing we didn't do is we didn't really force many turnovers last week. Well, they've already gotten 2 interceptions so far here tonight, and I think Todd Stevens, even if they didn't get a pick or a fumble last week, probably got to be pretty happy with getting 3 safeties in that first quarter. So the Panthers cheerleaders are going to be feeling it in their arms tomorrow. They got to do 21 push-ups, and we're only here in the first quarter as Miller's point is into the end zone. So we'll see East Peoria again just try and find some sort of answers on offense. John, a quick note I wanted to mention, kind of something interesting. I don't know if you know this, but so Noah Garcia, his father Rob Garcia, owns a football training company called 4 Verts Academy. A lot of quarterbacks, wide receivers go there and work on training, a lot of drills, do some great things over there. Dalton Oakman here on East Peoria is a regular attendee of going to 4 Verts as well. So him and Noah probably know each other pretty well.
Yeah, shocker, right? 2 of the best quarterbacks in the conference go to a great quarterback complex and practice facility, right? And you've seen Oakman has a really talented arm, so something that is really strong in both of these guys. And right, Garcia, a young guy who's a starter for his varsity football team. Not shocked that both of these guys, the young, talented guys, go to a great academy.
And let's take a look at East Peoria's head coach while we have a moment. John, East Peoria called timeout. Sam Durley, in his second season as the Raiders head coach, he is 0-1 obviously against Washington, but he is, again, really doing a lot to try to change this culture at East Peoria around, right? He knows that it's a team that historically has not been good at football. They've struggled with numbers, but again, I was there at practice. He's got a shirt that says, "Create the culture" on the back of it. So, again, the early signs for Sam Durley, very positive.
Yeah. and you're off to a great start in your second year. So 4-1, looking to get that 5th win to get that playoff spot. This is a great season so far.
And a lot of work to do tonight as a good-looking ball from Oakman. He was looking for Logan Kirby, fell incomplete. Interesting note about Sam Durley, John, is that he actually had a stint of playing some professional football. He played in the Indoor Football League as well as a short stint in the Arena Football League as well. Rest in peace.
Yeah, definitely. But that's great for these players, right? You're going to want to play for someone who's played professionally, who's done what you want to in this sport, right? He's had professional experience. That's something that at the high school level, getting that is something huge, and that's going to definitely help with the turnout and numbers. And it looks like their bench has gotten pretty big this year already, so he's able to start to get more players come out this year.
It is a little bit of a challenge still. East Peoria still looking to build their roster a bit more, but you see that there is more excitement this year, and this carry by Jackson will give them some excitement. That picks up about 7 or 8 there on second down, so that's one of the better runs we've seen from the junior tonight.
Yeah, and R.J. Jackson is filling exactly what Coach was saying about him in our pregame interview with him, saying, if I remember this correctly, when he gets in the weight room, he squats a house. You saw him right there use his legs and bury his feet into the ground, running through people.
It'll be 3rd and 3. Oakman looking back to the sideline.
This is a must-have 3rd down, I feel like, in this game right now.
East Peoria hasn't gotten a first down yet. Oakman dropping back to pass, looking deep down the field, and it's brought in. Big play for the Raiders, and it was Aiden Hinder, their all-conference player, bringing it in on the far side.
Yeah,
There's a flag down, though. It's going to be negated. It's going to be a hold on East Peoria. That's a tough one to swallow.
That's a really tough one. It looks like you finally beat Washington at their game, right? You had a man in Hinder. It's the guy you want to go to in those instances, and just like that, you lose it just like that. So a sort of demoralizing play right there for East Peoria. But now it doesn't change. It's still 3rd down. You still have a shot. So right, you can still try and get this 3rd down and see how you bounce back from that.
Yeah, one thing we were talking with Sam Durley about prior to this game was he was kind of anticipating, kind of even hoping that Washington would kind of play some man defense because it kind of allows maybe some matchups there. If you can win your matchup, you can be wide open down the field. And Hinder wasn't wide open there, but again, kind of one-on-one coverage, and he was able to find him.
Yeah, and talking about that last week, when he saw man coverage on film, he saw they had open opportunities. They just didn't execute.
Yep.
And you execute on that one perfectly, and then you get a hold. So kind of hurts right there, but something that I've been practicing a lot. It's still the first quarter. It's so early in this game. You can still have multiple other chances.
And they still do. Here's 3rd and 13. Logan Kirby at the bottom of your screen. 2 wide receivers up top. Watson in at tight end for some blocking help. Oakman's going to throw it and complete it to Keemon Lee right at the sticks. That's a 1st down Raiders.
Great bounce back from Oakman and this Raiders offense. You get a rough mental mistake, and especially with how this game's going, that could have easily taken this drive away from you. Instead, Oakman stands in the pocket, makes a great throw, and just like that, they have their first down of the game, and now could probably build a drive to end this first quarter.
That's their first down. It's complete to Keemon Lee, a tall wideout, standing 6'4" and at 195. He's got 12 catches for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns here this year. So 1st and 10 for Oakman and company. We'll see what they can kind of do to get this ball next step, get in Washington territory. R.J. Jackson falls forward for about a few. You look at this East Peoria offensive line, John, and there's a decent amount of size up there. Got 6'2", 280 in Devin Hinkle, 5'10", 290 Keegan Barnes, and 6'4", 300 in Aiden Hasty.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about Aiden Hasty earlier, but that's someone that you want to run behind, right? And we've seen Joe Smith do a great job of sort of shutting down that right side, but skill is good. But when you have size like that, you got to run behind that and that strength. And I'm looking to see East Peoria run behind Hasty tonight.
So here's a 2nd and 9 after a gain of 1 from Jackson. Throw by Oakman. It's complete. Hinder not able to escape there as a good tackle on the perimeter by Mr. Interception earlier, Caden Chadwick.
Yeah, and that was a great play design. Just Copeland wasn't able to get out there quick enough, but you like the play design. That could have been a one-on-one blocking position for the lineman on the corner. you like that. So you're getting the right plays. You're just not executing them right now, but you still have so much time left in this game. And, right, it's a learning opportunity for those guys. You learn that. Now you can implement it next time. You know you got to be faster. So, yeah, it kind of stinks that you weren't able to execute it, but you saw the vision and you saw the blocking and you saw something that you liked.
East Peoria has tried to go to the screen game so far, but as a result, in an interception. Under pressure as Oakman completes it, and Lee had it in his breadbasket and bounced out of there. It's going to be a 4th and 9 here with 6 seconds to go.
Yeah, and it looks like, right, they had Lee, but it looks like they also had Hindered on the top of your screen there as well. On it looks like a go route. So two really right, you don't get any points out of this, but this is a really great drive. You're a drop away from this drive still going on right now. So East Peoria, yeah, you didn't get any points out of this drive, but this was a much, much better drive and a much more methodical and understanding drive for you guys rather than the first few drives where it felt like you guys were kind of nervous and still not settled. And now it looks like their offense is fully settled because you catch that ball, the drive is still going on right now.
So here's a punt from Vaughn. It's a short one. It takes a big Washington bounce, a leap rather, and Panthers will have it at the Raiders 43 after the end of the first quarter. They lead it 21-0 here at their home field in our WMBD Game of the Week.
Looking for a getaway close to home? Discover Mackinac Valley Vineyard, wine country in your own backyard. Sip handcrafted wines on the wraparound deck. Take in stunning views of the rolling countryside and make memories that last a lifetime. From relaxing afternoons to lively weekend nights, there's always something happening, like outdoor concerts, festivals, and private events under the stars. Come for the wine, stay for the experience. Visit MackinacValleyVineyard.com to see what's on our calendar.
Happy birthday from Alexander Steakhouse. Come celebrate your birthday with us, and you'll get a free dessert and up to a $20 credit on your meal. For details or reservations, call Alexander Steakhouse in Peoria or Normal.
At Alexander Steakhouse, we're more than steaks, we're entertainment. Pick one of our hand-cut steaks, cook over the open grill, or have us prepare it for you. Steaks, seafood, chicken, and Central Illinois' best salad bar. Alexander Steakhouse, where the best cook is you.
Welcome back to Babcock Field. Washington leading at 21-0, and they have the ball here to start this second quarter of action. And, John, so far they've used some turnovers to their advantage. 2 picks early on by Caden Shedwick and Joe Smith.
Yeah, 2 picks and great field position in all of their drives. I don't think they've started a drive on their side of the 50 or on their side of the 40. So 2 all great, really great field position for Washington. They haven't really had to start too deep in their own territory, which is another great thing. That means you're doing something right, and Washington has been able to capitalize on it.
There's been a lot of things Washington has done right so far tonight. Here's 2nd and 9, and we haven't seen Garcia throw it a ton so far. Again, you look at what he did last week, again, just 6 passing attempts, but completed 5 of them. 2 of them went for touchdowns. So, again, Washington's a team that likes to pass it when they want to, not when they have to.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And that's something, right? They also scored 69 points, so this could be a completely different because it's more competitive.
Here's Garcia going to throw it right on cue. A.J. Jones holds on. A long-range strike from Garcia to Jones. We'll see if it stands. There's another flag on the field. There's been one just about every big play tonight.
Yeah, that's what it feels like, right, John? Every big play has kind of been halted by a penalty. So
that's going to be, I believe, OPI, it looked like, on the Panthers.
Yeah, but that was a beautiful ball by Noah Garcia, able to really put that in the basket where only AJ could catch that ball. So, yeah, you didn't get the score there, but a really great throw there and a nice catch by A.J. Jones. That ball was placed in only a spot where A.J. Jones could catch that ball. So Noah Garcia with a great start, even though he doesn't get the count for the completion or touchdown. It was a great placed ball.
And A.J. Jones, again, a big re-addition to this Washington team. Missing a couple games, he has been very efficient so far. Here's a 2nd and 15. Garcia looking to throw again. That time is complete, and Kirby is right there to tackle James Johnson. And, John, you look at it, again, being efficient. A.J. Jones this season right now. 4 receptions coming into tonight, 92 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's only had 1 catch that hasn't ended in the end zone. He would have been 4 for 5.
Exactly. And if you want to really add on this, he also has a punt return touchdown. So technically, he has 4 touchdowns in every opportunity he's been able to touch the ball. He has 4 touchdowns if you consider his punt return touchdown. So he's a touchdown machine, it feels like.
Here's a 3rd and 13. Garcia throwing, and a bit of a miscommunication there. He was looking for Freeman out of the backfield. I don't see Freeman catch too often, but it's a stop for East Peoria, and they will get it back. So, John, again, things obviously didn't start out great for them, but they got to stop. Now we'll see what they can do here after this drive.
Yeah, and you know, we've been calling Joe Smith a lot today, but Joe Smith is also what happens to be, you talked about, John, how the punter kind of does a little bit of everything for the team. Joe Smith is also the punter for Washington, so he kind of does a little bit of everything. Got a pick today, got a nice hard tackle, and now he's punting the ball.
It's a pretty good one, too. Averages about 38 yards a punt. And he'll send it down to Aiden Hindert and Eddie Fincham. That's a high arcer, lots of hang time on this one, and a tough catch made right around the 10 by Hindert. Give him lots of credit for making that catch in traffic. We want to take a quick minute to offer up our thoughts, prayers, and condolences to someone that was very special to the Clutch Sports media family. WMBD's Vice President General Manager Sean Newell unfortunately passed away on Monday, September 29th, after a bout with pancreatic cancer. Sean took a chance on us at Clutch Sports Media several years ago and helped us begin this partnership, and he was a phenomenal person to work with. Without him, our company would likely not even be around today. So our thoughts and prayers are with everyone in the WMBD family, as well as Sean's family and those that knew him as well. 1st and 10 here for the Raiders in their own territory. Oakman looking to throw near the goal line, and that one just sails into his own sideline.
Yeah, good defense right there by Washington. But, yeah, John, I was never able to meet Sean. But, yeah, he's a great guy and a really, really hard and sad loss for us here at the Clutch Sports Media. But great defense right there by Washington.
So here's a 2nd and 10, now from the 8. And Oakman displayed some good confidence on that last drive.
Looking to build off of that, John. That's definitely something you're looking to build on.
Here's, again, not much space to work with here on their own goal line. They'll hand off to Jackson. And a good handoff there. Picks up about a couple. And Jackson had a bit of a slower game last week, John. Again, he's had 2 200-yard games. Last week, he was held to just 10 rushes for 14 yards.
Yeah, and something that I kind of wanted to focus on, R.J. Jackson, how he goes is usually how this team goes. R.J. Jackson had 234 yards and 5 touchdowns in the first game, John. That could beat some high school running backs' season stats, and he did that in 1 game. Also, he only did it on 22 attempts. He averaged basically 10.5 yards per carry. Insane right there, and there's a reason why he said he lifts the house in the weight room.
Yeah, Jackson put up big numbers. That was a big win against Springfield Southeast. They beat Springfield Lanphier week after that. So 2nd straight year Raiders have faced those foes in the postseason. Here's a big 3rd down. Oakman, lefty looking to throw, and he had Hindert. Had him in an open spot, just a bit too far upstairs.
Yeah, that's something that you want your young quarterback Oakman to hit, John. And something that we've seen a lot in this game so far is Washington's been able to really rattle Dalton Oakman. And Dalton Oakman's success coincides with East Peoria's success. In wins, Dalton Oakman has a completion percentage of 64.5%, and in losses, John, he has a completion percentage of 35%. So if Dalton's completing that ball, more than likely East Peoria is in a good position in that game.
Again, that Dunlap team that they faced last week, boy, their defense has been very, very stout. They've pitched 3 shutouts this season. One of the other games, they only allowed 3, and then the other one was a 28-27 win over Pekin. So the Eagles, very strong. Jones having trouble bringing in this punt. Is bouncing all the way back to the 31. Jones going to try and make something happen. Shakes off a tackle. Now he's going east-west. What is going on this punt return? Jones able to get it up to about the 40 or so. A hard tackle into the sidelines made there by Hajir Walters and Perry Beanie. But credit Jones there for making something out of nothing.
Yeah. I mean, he fielded that basically at the 30-yard line, was able to bring that all the way up, basically back to the 40-yard line. So, John, Washington has still not started with the ball outside in their 25 to 30-yard line, which is usually where most offensive drives start. And we haven't seen Washington do that once at all this game, and we're almost halfway through the second quarter. So that just shows how great Washington has been defensively, right? You're making East Peoria make some hard punts deep into their own territory.
Yeah, the field position game has been kind to the Panthers. I mean, interesting formation here. You got 3 running backs in there. See Will Freeman, Kamar Mack in motion. They'll hand it off to Mack. He's got Freeman as a lead blocker. Mack busts into the outside. He's got some speed.
Nice.
Stiff-armed Aiden Hinder into the turf at the 40-yard line. That's a big run from Mack, who's a fun junior to watch.
Yeah, that was something that was a mean run, and then that nice stiff arm at the end. But that's someone that coach is looking for. He's another guy that you don't hear a lot about, he said, but when he gets the ball, he makes his presence known. So he's sort of one of those quiet guys that helps the team a lot, as it looks like he came off a little limpy there.
Yeah, he'll come out. A.J. Jones, Camden Visconti will come out. So Owen Klein and James Johnson, your receivers at the bottom of your screen. Garcia will take this one out of the shotgun. And he'll look to throw. East Peoria bringing pressure. It's picked up by Freeman, and it gives him enough time to complete. And it's big 88, James Johnson, picking up about 6.
Yeah, John, is Coach Stevens for Washington possibly, is he a mind reader or future? Because he told us James Johnson is going to be a guy to look out for in this game, and it feels like we've called James Johnson a lot in this game. It feels like, is that number 3 or 4 reception for him already? And he's done a lot more than just be a physical receiver. He's made some big plays for them already in Washington.
And Johnson, a guy that feels like he's been around forever, a senior and a 3-year starter for this Panthers squad, is Kirby checking out. And Javion Jackson, sophomore, will come in for him in the secondary. Of note, Kirby, he was a player that had the unenviable task of defending Max Sutter last week, and Garcia dropped the ball on the handoff. Oh, and he took a big hit and stayed up. Hopefully that was not helmet to helmet. Garcia took a lick, but didn't really go down at all.
You heard me. That was just a normal reaction from me. That was a hard hit, and for Garcia to
feel up here in the booth.
Yeah, no, for Garcia to be able to take that and then stand is something that just shows this kid's toughness, and he's only a sophomore, John. So just shows his toughness and care for and trying to always advance the ball.
So instead of a 3rd and short, and coming into tonight, this was a bit of a tough spot for Washington. Freeman will pick up the first down and more. Jackson chasing him. He's not going to get him. Hinder got him by the ankles. Just at about the 5. That'll go as a run of about 28 or so.
I thought we were going to get number 4 there for Freeman. It looked like he got the edge right there, and looked like he was going to run that one up the sideline.
So again, East Peoria has their backs against the wall. Need to come up with the stop. They have made some good tackles occasionally tonight, but most of the time Washington's been able to pretty much get at least 5 or 6 yards most of the time.
Yeah, this would be a big stop for East Peoria if you can hold them to 3 right here.
1st and goal, flag flies. Freeman gets the carry. And again, a good stop there by the Raiders. Hopefully for them, this stands. There have been a lot of flags in this game, and coming into tonight, Washington only had 19 penalties for 165 yards. Again, that's all season. That's through 5 games. That's an average of only about 4 flags per game. It's, again, a very disciplined team.
Exactly. And you want to know what's crazy? Is Coach was telling us that's something he wants to see them improve, right? 4 flags, if you think about it, that's about 1 a quarter. And he wants to get rid of that. So that just shows, right, this team is not satisfied with only minimal mistakes. They want 0 mental mistakes, especially, right, we talked about the number 6 team in the 6A poll. That's a reason, and they're trying to limit those mental mistakes in these games.
So it'll still be a 1st and goal from the 5. I believe they picked up the flag there. So I formation, Joe Smith again, the fullback. He might be blocking for Garcia here. That appears to be the case. Garcia running to the far side. And 2 late flags come in there.
Yeah, John, I don't think these flags will be going out. Usually if there's 2, there's usually a mutual agreement that there was something going on in that play that the rest did not like.
Well, we'll see what the Zebras have to say about this one as we get our call here. And it's going to be a face mask on the Raiders. That one was pretty clear from their vantage point. Not quite so much from ours. They're, again, about 60 or so yards away from us up here in the booth. That'll make it 1st and goal from the 2.
Yeah, but, right, this is something that East Peoria, you have to give up 3, I feel like. If you – right, it's now starting to get later in the game. You're about halfway through the second quarter. You got to stop them here. You need to only give up 3.
I'd also love to see if they can maybe punch one out for a fumble, which, again, the Panthers don't do very often. Loaded box here, and the Raiders got him. First man there, that was Mason Watson again, that senior linebacker. He's made a couple big tackles tonight.
Yeah, very nice play there by Mason Watson, and that's something, right? We talked about tackling Freeman, Will Freeman. That is a hard job, not an easy job, and not an easy thing to do. So a very nice tackle right there by Mason Watson. Let's see if East Peoria can build off of that really strong.
So Freeman officially gets 1 there as whistles blow, and we will get a timeout by Washington. And, John, while we do, let's get a quick chance to look at what Will Freeman is able to offer this team and some of his big runs so far this year. Again, he's got 3 touchdowns so far tonight. But, again, on the season so far, 7 rushes, 686, and 6. That's coming into tonight. You see here on this play against Limestone last week, took a 65-yarder to the house. And, again, like you said, that good blend of speed and athleticism comes with a lot of off-season training, too.
Yeah, and we are getting the pleasure of seeing 2 really great running backs in the Mid-Illini Conference. And that 65-yard run shows you all that you need to know about Will Freeman and how explosive and electric of a runner he is.
And yeah, he has got a big play knack, and he'll try and punch it in here for what would be touchdown number 4 on the night. And he's got rushes of 533 or 517 and 3 yards so far. We'll see if he can punch it in from 1 here on 2nd down. And he does. Freeman in there standing up, and that's how he's crossed the goal line each of the 4 times so far.
Yeah, and if high school sports was fantasy, Will Freeman would have a legacy game today. It looks like he knows R.J. Jackson ran for 5 this year. It looks like he's trying to best him. He already has 4, and we're not even through the first half. So Will Freeman has had a really, really big impact on this game so far.
I don't know exactly what the record, at least in the teams that we cover in our area, this season is for most touchdowns in a game. Again, I know Jackson had 5 back in week 1. Miller's point after is good. I know Jimmy Lawler from Olympia had a massive, massive game a few weeks ago. I believe ran, I think, for maybe around 300 to 400 yards. I'll have to double check. He had a huge, huge game. But yeah, don't know Freeman's official totals right now for yardage, but had to assume he's probably getting close to 100, if not there already, plus, again, those 4 touchdowns. So I would love to have Will Freeman on my fantasy team. If he does make it to the NFL, he'll definitely be a draft pick for me.
Oh, no, yeah, for sure. I mean,
goal line vulture.
Yeah. He's one of those great 3rd down backs that you pick up on the waiver wire that you're like, he's a 3rd down back. He'll get some touchdowns. Although Will Freeman does everything and then 3rd down back stuff. That's why he has that 17-yard rush. He's able to burst his speed and get also 4 touchdowns. So just pure dominance by Will Freeman, really.
And you see the Panthers flag team. They're getting a workout too tonight, running those flags down.
And we talked about earlier, those cheerleaders too with those push-ups.
I got to do.
It's not going to be fun.
Again, the thing is you got to add. You don't just do 7 for the one you just scored.
7 and then
you got to start
14.
back from 0. So doing some quick math, 7 plus 14 plus 21 plus 28, that is 70. So they are at 70 push-ups so far tonight. And one more touchdown will put him at over 100. Says the kick is away, and East Peoria wants Fincham waved it off, said, I don't want it. The ball came out. Washington is going to have this one inside the 5. Evan Deasy comes up with the fumble. And that is another killer for the Raiders. And just a confusing play there. Thought it was going to be a touchback. Ends up being a fumble.
Yeah, and that's something that just, right, you're trying to read it when it's in the air and you misread it. That stinks. And then what makes it worse is you fumble it, and then you fumble it inside your own 5-yard line. So looks like, John, if I was a gambling man, I would put my money on this ball. Looks like it's going to go to Will Freeman. I think he might get 5.
At this point, he might just be begging Todd Stevens in the huddle, say, hey, just let me get 5. Evan Deasy, though, is the running back out there for the Panthers. I mean, well earned. He was the one that recovered that fumble. Got to give credit to those gunners that get down there to recover that fumble. So we'll see what they can do here on just the 3-yard line. Deasy will get the carry, trying to find some space. He's going to be tackled before he reaches the end zone.
And that was a good stop right there by East Peoria to not let them sort of get in the end zone untouched, sort of having to fight there. But, I mean, it feels like all these teams in the Mid-Illini, we were talking a little bit about running backs, are so deep at running back, right?
Yeah.
Evan Deasy could be a starter at any other high school, but this running back room at Washington is so deep. He just got unlucky, and he's shown why he's so capable, right? You're not a goal line back by accident, right? Coach believes in you. So, and it looks like he's lined up again. So
he'll get this one at the 3. If they do hand off here, DC looking for his first touchdown of the year. Garcia going to roll out, looking to find someone. Still rolling. Wow. Got a man wide open. Garcia is going to get in there himself. How about the mileage he racked up on that one? Might want to report that to his employer. He's going to get a big refund at tax time. Gets creative and runs it in for 3.
Yeah, and even though that was a 3-yard rush, it was more like a 20, 25-yard, by the way, by how much he was running around. And also a great show of speed by Noah Garcia to show that he's got a little bit of burst. Even though, right, he's a quarterback, he's got some burst in those legs and was able to bring that one to the edge and get his first rushing touchdown of the day, his 6th on the season.
Garcia had targets open. I think he just wanted to say, oh, let's just see what I can do. Panthers having fun out there. They lead it 35-0 here in the second quarter. And, John, we've been talking a lot about Washington, and for East Peoria, it is going to be a big climb back into this if they want to get back into it. But, again, right now, you look at where they're at. They're still got 4 wins. They have some opportunities. Not easy ones, but opportunities to get that 5th win. And, I think, this is tough right now for them. But at the same time, you learn some lessons from facing teams like Dunlap and Washington they can use in the final 3 weeks of the season.
Totally, and this is a really rough back-to-back that not many teams in this state, let alone have, right? You're facing the number 5 and number 6 team in 6A, in the 6A poll in back-to-back weeks. So that's something you do not see a lot at all, and East Peoria got the unlucky draw of facing them in back-to-back weeks. So it's a really, really tough schedule. But it's definitely something that you can learn from, and right, you have 3 weeks to get 1 win, and that's something that this East Peoria team is confident in, and that's something that they have been built on this year, right? Getting 4 wins, you have a lot of confidence in yourself and your team's ability. So East Peoria, even though, right, this is a little eye-opening in back-to-back weeks, you can still very much come back in the coming weeks.
And some opportunities, too, again, against a Morton team that's a bit banged up. Pekin's a bit banged up as well, as Raiders will cleanly field this kick. Eddie Fincham spins around, gets tackled right at the W there on the 20. But again, you look at East Peoria, again, tough night so far tonight, but they have been making the climb over the past few years. You look at, again, just where this program was back in 2019, 0-9, 0-4, 0-9. Real tough seasons. Then they go 2-7 2 years in a row. Then Sam Durley gets hired. They win 4 games last year, and they got 4 wins so far this year. So again, even though so far, not what they want, but again, big picture has been pretty favorable for this East Peoria team.
Yeah, and it shows, right, the big thing in high school football is being able to retain talent and continue success, and that's something that we've seen already, right? You have the same amount of wins as you had last year, and you're 5 games through the season. So this team has shown a lot of growth already in this second year under coach.
Swarming tackle there made by the Panthers, and a couple of them got in there, and including one of their linemen. It looked like that was Joe Smith again getting in there. Again, Smith has a pick. Caden Chadwick has a pick as well. Raiders got just about under 4 minutes to try and march about 83 yards.
Yeah, and it feels like we've been calling, I brought up earlier, we've been calling a lot of James Johnson. It feels like we've been calling a lot of Joe Smith, too, on the defensive side of the ball. So 2 guys that have made their presence known today and have kind of been wrecking the East Peoria on both sides of the ball.
They certainly have. Again, Washington doesn't have a ton of two-way players most years. They do have a few this year. Oakman looking to throw, and it's complete. A big hit, and Fincham hung on through it. What a job done there by the sophomore that stands a lean 5'10", 160. That's a first down, Raiders. Or going to be a third and very short.
Yeah, and Fincham had a really, really big week in week 4. 5 receptions, 162 yards, and a touchdown. So someone that can really be a game changer, an X factor for this East Peoria team, and could start opening up plays, right? 5 receptions, 162 yards. You're usually a deep threat for your team, so we could see Fincham making some big plays tonight.
We certainly could, as here's a 3rd and 1. One of the Raiders, Dallas, we see them throw a lot on 3rd tonight. They'll hand off to Jackson. Wow. And East Peoria's O-line opens up the hole right there. But, John, you talk about the big plays for East Peoria. Again, this is a team that thrives off of them. They have so far. They got some big play bandits. Aiden Hindert, 14 yards a catch, 3 touchdowns. Keemon Lee. Then you look at Logan Kirby and Fincham coming in tonight. 20-plus yards per catch, plus a few touchdowns as well.
Jeez, I mean, this team is I feel like a very modern version of football, right? When you think of football in the current grand scheme of things in the NFL and college, there's so many guys that have such a high average yards per catch because of how explosive this game is, and I feel like this East Peoria team really embodies it.
And it's also a credit, too, to Oakman and the arm that he has. Jackson shakes off a tackle, and that's his biggest run of the night. He's across midfield and a pickup of 22 there on 1st and 10.
Yeah, and R.J. Jackson has shown that week last week of where he had 10 rushes for 14 yards, averaging 1.4 yards per carry, was a fluke. And this is arguably a much better defense in Washington. No offense towards Dunlap's defense. It's just you don't just allow teams 10 points a game on purpose, right? This Washington defense is legit, and R.J. Jackson has surpassed that total in that rush alone from last week. So R.J. Jackson will have a big impact on this game if East Peoria wants to to come back in this game and have a fight.
Here's Oakman looking to throw, going deep down the field again. Tight coverage would have been the catch of the year if he could have brought it in. Oakman was looking for Keemon Lee, but Kamar Mack was again just right there with him. He has provided some phenomenal coverage tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I know I talked about Joe Smith and James Johnson. It feels like we've called a lot of Kamar Mack, too. He's had a blanket coverage, and I know I talked about that earlier on in the show, but these corners have been really, really well today. Done a great job of making Dalton Oakman's job a lot harder. He's got to make it's either a perfect pass or it's either getting batted or it's going to be a very hard catch. So they're making Dalton Oakman's life a lot harder than it usually is.
Most definitely. Again, Oakman and has had 2 picks coming in tonight, has 2 so far tonight. Short run there, gains about 1 or 2. Again, we saw East Peoria try and go to the screen game, go to that well early on, and one pass was nearly intercepted, and the other screen pass was intercepted by Smith. But, now that we've kind of, seen them kind of run some plays, haven't ran a screen in a while, I wonder if the Raiders will try and get back to that, kind of a safe option throw, or maybe they'll just keep on going down the field and take their chances.
Yeah, but R.J. Jackson, he doesn't have that many receptions, only 1 on the year, but you saw that explosive play where he just had a 22-yard rush. So that's something that I think you could be looking out for.
And Oakman looking for Lee, and Lee wasn't quite turned around yet. Oakman was feeling the pressure there and just had to get rid of it. So it's 4th and 7, and I think East Peoria you're going to keep the offense out here. Why not? You're down 35. It's 4th down. You're not in the red zone. So we'll see what they dial up here.
Yeah, you got to go for this, right? Especially being this late in the first half. You got to end it with a score, especially since you won't be starting the second half with the ball. If you can get 7 here, this is a really big play.
It certainly is. And, again, while we got a quick moment, take a look at, again, some of Dalton Oakman's highlights so far this season. See what he's done through the first 4 weeks against maybe some defenses that maybe quite aren't as good as Washington. Again, you see here, deep pass there. They went about 30, 40 yards in the air going for a touchdown. And you see him there making a broken play out of nothing. This play ended up going for a touchdown as well. And also, too, again, Oakman in his senior year got some knowledge. You see him on the pump fake there on that pass, froze the defense, and was able to find that for a touchdown as well. So, again, Oakman was the guy in his pretty much his second full year starting, and it's always good when you have a guy that's got some experience under center.
Yeah, and he was someone that coach was really looking for. He said he's one of the top guys on the scouting reports because of how strong his arm is, and we've seen it today with that one ball that got called back when he hit Hinton. That was a beautiful ball. Oakman has the arm. It's just, can he get the time, as Washington has made his life in the backfield really, really hard for himself. So Oakman is one of the best players in the conference. Don't let this rough game kind of display that.
Here's a 4th and 7, and there's a completion. Aiden Hinder has got it. First down, Raiders. They don't have any more timeouts left, but the clock will stop momentarily for the Chains.
Nice play right there from Hinder and Oakman, right? You're able to sort of slow down the drive a little bit, get a nice throw there, and now you gotta get 7 out here.
As the deepest EP has been able to drive all night. Oakman trying to find something, directing traffic. Looking to the sideline and out of bounds, Keemon Lee jumping up and down saying, I wanted that one, but also Kamar Mack is pumped up too after that one. Mack is we might have to start calling him Mack Island.
Yeah.
Just like Revis Island back in the day.
Oh, yeah, don't worry. I'm not that young. I know Darrell Revis.
I wasn't quite sure, John. I know I kind of date myself sometimes, but.
No, yeah, totally. But that is, I mean, I feel like that's fair. He's been able to really shut down that right side of the field. It feels like whenever the ball is being thrown by Oakman, it's either on the middle or the left side. And when he's throwing it to the right, it's not getting caught most of the time. So that is a very fair name to give him.
Here's 2nd and 10. Oakman again looking for a quick completion in and out of the hands. That time for Lee, who bangs his helmet 3 times in frustration. So a precarious position here for the Raiders. 3rd and 10 with 21 seconds to go. You could look for the end zone here. You could also, again, try to get the first down and a quick play after.
Yeah, Lee is someone else that I'm really looking for too. In week 3, against Canton, he was able to get 6 receptions for 66 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he's also another receiving threat and touchdown threat for this East Peoria team as they're in the red zone now.
He is looking for his first touchdown since that game. Here's a passing catch. That time the soft hands of Aiden Hinder brings it in. It's going to be
gotta go here.
They have to go. It's down to 10. I don't know if they're going to be able to get it back. Down to 7-6. East Peoria might try and, well, it is 4th down. They can't spike it here. Oh, they do, and I don't think Oakman realized it was 4th down. And you see the reaction. He said, why didn't anyone tell me? But I think Sam Durley's going to say, Dalton, that's on you to know. That's 4th down.
That is.
So that will unfortunately go as a turnover on downs, but that's a tough one to swallow there for the Raiders.
And there's a reason that I'm not a quarterback, right? I thought that they had to spike it. Didn't realize that it was 4th. But, yeah, Dalton's, that's something that you got to know here. In that position, you just got to try and get that ball as fast as you can. You're able to snap it, which is good. You're able to get the ball, which I didn't think they were able to.
Yeah.
So you got the ball snapped. Now you just got to know if it's what down it is, and then that could be a completely different play. Maybe you get a broken play and you get a touchdown on that, right? Maybe Washington overcommits. Maybe Washington, right? You never know. Even though Washington is a really great and stout defense, you maybe could have got something.
And the Panthers will kneel it. Hey, refs are even to run the clock. The clock operator fell asleep at the wheel there for a quick second, but either way, it doesn't matter. Washington leads it big at the half, 35-0. Will Freeman with 4 touchdowns, Noah Garcia with 1. It's been a complete performance for the Panthers as they, again, look to clinch playoff eligibility here tonight at home on homecoming as well. Be right back after this on our WMBD Game of the Week. Back to beautiful Babcock Field.
Wright's Furniture in beautiful downtown Pontiac provides the highest quality furniture for your home. Kick back and watch the game in one of our cozy recliners or experience a wonderful night's sleep in one of our luxurious mattresses. Visit Wright's Furniture for comfort and quality.
Looking for an electrician you can trust? Look no further than the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 34 in partnership with the National Electrical Contractors Association. From large-scale industrial projects to commercial developments and residential needs, IBEW electricians bring the training, expertise, and professionalism you deserve. Plus, get the added security for your new home with our Plus 5 protection plan. Work with an electrician you can count on. IBEW Local 34 and NECA, building a legacy of training, professionalism, and trust.
Peoria Production Solutions is a unique not-for-profit manufacturing company. For over 80 years, our mission is to be the premier employer of individuals with disabilities. We are committed to providing employment, training, and encouragement to people with all types of disabilities. With 300 employees at our 2 facilities, we continue expanding our capabilities and growing our team. We are Peoria Production Solutions. Higher performance, higher standards.
Willow Lane Yoga and Wellness is now open at 7800 North Summer, featuring yoga, mat Pilates, reformer Pilates, and our exclusive to the area Fuse ladders. Find out why we're different at willowlaneyoga.com.
Champions aren't just made on the scoreboard. They're built through teamwork, leadership, and setting an example that makes us all proud. Turks Collision Center is proud to celebrate the student athletes of Central Illinois because their victories reach far beyond the game.
At Bob Grimm Chevrolet in Morton, we're out to sell $20 million of new Chevys in 2025, and we'll do whatever it takes to hit our goal. We'll save you thousands by discounting every new Chevy in stock and giving more for your trade. We'll check all the options to get you the best interest rate, plus every rebate possible to save you even more. When we sell a new Chevrolet, each of the 365 days this year, we stay on track. Will you be the next to make our day and be our one new Chevrolet? The math is simple. One new Chevrolet every day. That's the Bob Grimm way.
Passionate, focused, strong, qualities that you look for in a great athlete, and also a great lawyer. At Strong Law Offices, injury law is at the heart of what we do. Our team is on your side. When the game is on the line, let us tackle your claim.
This Monday, WMBD is remembering our very own Sean Newell. His passion for storytelling and love for Central Illinois touched countless lives. CI Heroes, celebrating the legacy of a true leader. Monday on WMBD News at 10.
At Pepperell Chiropractic, we treat our patients like their family. Our caring staff sees all ages and provides chiropractic adjustments, acupuncture, massage therapy, and more. Visit us in Peoria or at pepperellchiropractic.com.
Wright's Furniture in beautiful downtown Pontiac provides the highest quality furniture for your home. Kick back and watch the game in one of our cozy recliners or experience a wonderful night's sleep in one of our luxurious mattresses. Visit Wright's Furniture for comfort and Willow Lane Yoga and Wellness is now open at 7800 North Summer, featuring yoga, mat Pilates, reformer Pilates, and our exclusive to the area Fuse ladders. Find out why we're different at willowlaneyoga.com.
Champions aren't just made on the scoreboard. They're built through teamwork, leadership, and setting an example that makes us all proud. Turks Collision Center is proud to celebrate the student athletes of Central Illinois because their victories reach far beyond the game.
This Monday, WMBD is remembering our very own Sean Newell. His passion for storytelling and love for Central Illinois touched countless lives. CI Heroes, celebrating the legacy of a true leader. Monday on WMBD News at 10.
Craving pizza perfection? Brienzo's brings the fire. With Neapolitan-inspired pizzas, fresh ingredients, and pure fun. Visit Brienzo's Orange Prairie after the game. Open till 11 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays.
Welcome back here to Babcock Field. East Peoria trailing Washington 35-0 as we get the show from Washington's band right now. Again, it's been a dominant first half performance from Washington as they look to move to 5-1 on the year. And we're going to take a quick chance again. We caught up with some players on East Peoria before this game. They're having, again, a fun year this season. Again, trying to get their 5th win of the season. exciting times over there in Raider country.
Other than last week, we're exactly where we wanted to be. I think we competed a lot better in some of those games, the first 4 games, and we kind of ran away with things instead of letting other teams hang around, other than the Canton game. But it's a tough team. It's a big team, and, we were down 9 with 8 minutes left, and we came back and got it done. And then adversity hit, and, Dunlap is everything that they're made out to be, but we just didn't come out and execute, and we got to bounce back and keep moving forward as a group. Biggest thing, especially after like the week we had last week, we know how good Dunlap is and how well coached they are, but also we know we're a way better team than what we showed. So this week we know what we're running into, and we know what Washington is and how well coached they are and the players that they have. But it's about getting back on track and doing some of the little things right and getting back to just basic fundamental football. And if you can compete, that's when crazy things happen. And last week we didn't compete, and this is a week where it's a fresh start, and our guys have handled the adversity and the results from last week very well, and I think they're ready to go and just kind of start fresh this week and see what happens.
Yeah, it's been amazing because, I grew up in East Peoria, was never really good at football, and I feel like me and my friends and our group have really put it together these last couple of years, and I think we can be the team that can make it and get it done.
I would just say that we're a lot stronger, just physical team, and we're just brothers. Like, we've all been playing together for years, and our chemistry is just amazing.
He's got a completely different mentality from last year. Last year we kind of just gave up, and I feel the fire of everything else just coming together. We're all closer, we're all older. We're just a tight knit group of guys. A lot of it's just been the coaching change and all that. It's a big culture change and all that. It's more of like we're more of a team, more of a community now. It feels like we're all together.
I would say just our chemistry and just like me just putting trust in our O-line and just, it's just amazing how they work together and just open up the gaps for me.
It would mean a lot considering, in the years past we couldn't really get it together, and it would just mean a lot for the program and a lot for the community to go out there and just show these guys what we're made of and all that.
It would just be amazing for our school and just the city in general to, just compete against a team like Washington. It'd just be great. Yeah, we just work hard. Like, we want it. We know we can get playoffs, but honestly, we're looking past the playoffs. Like, we know we can make it. We just gotta, just stick to our plan.
It was fun catching up with East Peoria before this year. RJ Jackson, Aiden Hasty, some great players we got to talk to during the week. And welcome John Shikoda back into the booth. And John, again, a very dominant first half for Washington. Offense, defense, special teams, you name it, they pretty much did it.
Yep, every facet of the game, you were good. And most of the time when teams are very good in every 3 facet of the game, they're more than likely going to be leading the game. And also, something that you forgot to mention, Washington has dominated field position. They have not started a drive inside their own 30-yard line. So that's another thing that really has been a key to their success tonight.
It certainly has. Those interceptions early on by Caden Chadwick, Joe Smith, first 2 drives of the game for East Peoria really kind of set the tone and, again, gave Washington, like you said, that great field position. And if you give Washington a short field, chances are they're going to cash in.
Totally. Washington is one of those elite teams in the state where if you give them any sort of leadway on a mistake that you make, they're more than likely going to capitalize on it with 6, not a field goal, capitalize on it with 6. And that is something that Washington has done so well, and there's a reason why they're ranked 6th in the 6A poll this year.
They certainly are. Again, we'll take another look at that poll and just kind of see who Washington is up against when it kind of comes to, again, the top teams in the state. Again, look at the top of that 6A poll. East St. Louis, Nazareth, Chatham-Glenwood, who's up big right now. Again, Oak Park, Fenwick, another Chicago Catholic League power. And then Dunlap over there in ranked number 5. So, again, mid-season rankings, obviously they are technically official, but whether or not they actually mean much, and, there's varying answers on that for sure. But we'll kind of see in the playoffs how these teams from Central Illinois stack up against teams from other spots in the state.
Yeah, and we'll get a great show of that when Dunlap and Washington play this year to see if those rankings mean anything, right? To see how good and how close and competitive that game will be. But, yeah, I mean, the Mid-Illini, this is something that I've been prefacing this whole game. It feels like every game is like a state playoff game, and the environment here tonight on homecoming has been nothing short of that.
Most definitely. So, again, Washington's at 35 zip. John, what do you think East Peoria needs to do in the second half to kind of just turn some things around?
Well, we saw it kind of there at the end of the first half, right? Minus that fourth down where you spiked the ball by Oakman. It was a really good drive by East Peoria. You were able to move the ball, able to make some capitalize off of some open and missed reads by Washington on the defensive side of the ball. But in the end of it, you got to capitalize. Someone that I really wanted to really step up in that, it was Kamon Lee. He needed to make that catch on that ball that was across the middle on that slant. That's a completely different game if he makes that catch. Who knows? Maybe East Peoria has 7 on the board right now, and they don't start with second half. So on defense, they've done a good job. You can't do a lot when you're giving the ball away inside your own 20-yard line. So when Washington has had an actual drive, Dunlap has done a great job of sort of stopping them and making those good physical tackles. They made a lot of great tackles on Will Freeman. Yeah, he has 4 touchdowns, but a lot of them have been from inside the 5-yard line. So there should be a little asterisk right there, but East Peoria, you cannot make these mental mistakes. Also, a lot of holding and flags that have called back some big plays in this game so far.
Well, we'll see what happens again in the second half. Again, East Peoria has a long mountain to climb, but just trying to get some positives as they are looking for a playoff berth as well. We're step aside again one more time and come right back with more pregame or more halftime coverage here from Babcock Field. And we take a look at what else is going on around the area here in Week 6.
Central Illinois, we're going to overtime. After 4 years of preps coverage in Central Illinois, Clutch Sports Media is ready for a new era. CSM Overtime.
What is CSM Overtime? We're going beyond the broadcast to give you in-depth coverage of your teams.
Your stories. Your stats and standings.
Your highlights and action shots.
With your subscription, you'll get to see news and feature stories from all sports, up-to-date stats from around the area, and thoughtful analysis from our team of experts. As for our broadcast and social media coverage, it's only getting better.
With your support of Clutch Sports Media Overtime, we'll continue to grow our free broadcast coverage with more sports, more games, and more innovation.
And thanks to our partnership with Too Efficient Media, your social media feeds will be filled with Central Illinois' best sights and sounds. CSM Overtime will also give you access to full galleries from some of the most talented photographers and videographers in our region.
As the new season approaches, it's time for more.
More action. More stories.
More coverage of all Central Illinois sports. It's Clutch Sports Media Overtime.
And welcome back here to Washington. Rolling on through halftime here. Jonathan Michael and John Shikoda here in the booth with you. And John, a lot of other games going on in the area so far. Now let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard so far. Again, we got scores for most of the games we had tonight. Not ones for all of them, but Pekin and Metamora fairly close at the half. Redbirds lead at 23-13. Redbirds with a win can get playoff eligible. How about this? P&D puts up 58 in the first half against Manual. Irish looking to get their 4th win. And how about Normal Community and Bloomington? Ironman lead that one 42-28. That's a big one in the Twin Cities tonight.
Yeah, and also a big scoring game as well. I mean, 42 and 28 in the first half is really impressive stuff. But, yeah, that Metamora Pekin game is a great game. If you guys are not here and if you guys are bored while watching this one, maybe switch over to that game, as that game is a great game.
Yeah, I can watch 2 at the same time. We'll get a live look in here in just a second as we bring in some other scores as well. No score update from Limestone or Morton that we could see yet, but again, Potter's probably pretty heavily favored in that game. Take a look at some other games as well. John, 60 points in the first half for Peoria High against Richwoods. That's a heck of a number. Normal West leads Waubonsee Valley, and Normal UI trailing Glenwood 35-0. And no score update that we could find of Dunlap and Canton.
Yeah, I mean, Peoria High is bouncing back after that great game that you were able to call last week against Normal West. A really great competitive game. Came down to the last play as well. They're bouncing back after that really rough loss. As it was a really good and competitive game, you just lost by the last second. You weren't able to get that ball in the end zone. But other than that, it was a really great competitive game.
Let's take a look, a live look-in actually at, that brings it up here, of Pekin and Metamora. Again, this is our Clutch Sports Media game of the week as we try and get that brought up here to you now. But again, that game at halftime. See if we can bring it up later on, but you can watch it on ClutchSportsIL.com. Dragons trailing at 23 to 13. And that one, our good friends over there, Gavin Russell and Michael Goff on the call for that one over in Metamora. We've been in Metamora and Washington pretty frequently through the first few weeks of the season, John, but again, we're looking forward to maybe getting into some new spots here in the last few weeks of the year. Going to be a fun last 3 weeks of the regular season and then the playoffs. Never know who we're going to see come to town during that.
Exactly, and something that you talked about, we've been at Metamora and Washington a lot recently, and that's not to say that other teams have not had great games. It's just, it feels like every week Metamora and Washington are in some sort of classic game, and there's a reason why we're going there, right? So, yeah, but I'm really excited. It feels crazy that we're in week 6 with this weather, that we're in week 6. It feels like we're in the beginning of August and we're in week 1. As you and I both called week 1 in Metamora, it was very similar to the weather today, but nope, we're in the beginning of October, John.
And again, while we're at halftime, let's take a look at again what else is going on around the sports departments for both of these schools. Again, for East Peoria, and look at them again. Boys golf, they had 4 golfers advance to sectionals. That was earlier. Sectionals will be on Monday that they'll be playing out. Volleyball got a win over Pekin earlier this week. Girls tennis also a sweep over Lincoln earlier this week as well. And for Washington, John, I don't know how much you know or follow maybe boys golf that much, but they were under par as a team at their regionals. Were 283, 1 under at their Class 2A regional back earlier this week. I was there. Just a phenomenal performance from Gavin Schwartz, Dominic Yoakum and company as a team that could win a Class 2A state title. Their boys soccer team did suffer their first loss of the season at Dunlap back on Tuesday. Another great game that I was at. But again, they're still having a great year. And girls swim at the Richwoods Invitational on Saturday. So a lot of good things going on for both of these schools, but man, how about Washington golf and soccer? I mean, that is some pretty impressive stuff going on. So it's not just football that these Panthers are having a great fall in.
Yeah, arguably top 2 in the state at both of those respective sports. I mean, if you're shooting under par as a player is one thing. As a team is insane.
Yeah.
And also it's a high school team. It's not like a collegiate, high-powering collegiate offense. It is a high school team that's doing that, so that just shows how great Washington has been this year.
And you can read all about those teams. Again, we cover them all again on Clutch Sports Media Overtime. Got daily coverage, nightly roundups of all the scores and stats from all the area schools, as well as news, power rankings. Got a couple feature stories that are going to be coming up soon that we're excited to bring you as well on some area athletes and teams. They're doing great things this fall, as well as power rankings, Associated Press polls first time each week, as well as many other things. Again, CSM Overtime, ClutchSportsIL.com/overtime, or that QR code there on your screen. And believe it or not, John, we're going to have basketball season starting not too long from now, so we're going to have some basketball previews.
That is going to be awesome.
Going to be hitting the CSM Overtime website here pretty soon as well. We're going to take a quick break and be right back here from Washington as the Panthers lead at 35-0 in our WMBD Game of the Week.
Willow Lane Yoga and Wellness is now open at 7800 North Summer, featuring yoga, mat Pilates, reformer Pilates, and our exclusive to the area Fuse ladders. Find out why we're different at willowlaneyoga.com.
Family banking from a name you trust, Hometown Community Banks. For over 6 decades, we've been here right where you needed us. High-quality banking services delivered by caring professionals, people just like you who live and love Central Illinois. It's a history we're proud of, and one we'll continue to offer to every person who walks through our doors. When you bank in your hometown, your money stays in your hometown. Hometown Community Banks, divisions of Morton Community Bank. Look for the clock tower and you'll know we have time for you.
Trade up to a better future. Trade up to a job you enjoy. Trade up to trade school. At Midwest Technical Institute, you get the skills you need to start a career that moves you up in life, towards your goals, your passions, and your ambitions. Choose from one of our skilled trade programs, including welding and pipe fitting, or HVAC and refrigeration. Earn the experience, knowledge, and confidence to change your life. Trade school is just the beginning. Start your journey today at midwesttech.edu.
Wright's Furniture in beautiful downtown Pontiac provides the highest quality furniture for your home. Kick back and watch the game in one of our cozy recliners, or experience a wonderful night's sleep in one of our luxurious mattresses. Visit Wright's Furniture for comfort and quality.
Welcome back. Panthers and Raiders back on the field here for the second half. Again, Jonathan Michael joined along with John Shikoda here in the booth with you tonight. And John, again, the second half, Washington, they get one more score, got the running clock potentially. So again, never know what could happen. Maybe East Peoria is able to get a stop, get back and score a touchdown. But again, maybe looking forward to maybe seeing some other players kind of step up here in the second half, maybe that we didn't see in that first half too.
Yeah, maybe you'll see some players on your bench, on your second string guys that you didn't know what they had, so you put them in the game, and you never know. Maybe those guys will kind of take advantage and prove something that they can play competitively and be a real factor for this East Peoria team as the season goes on. And as for Washington, you've seen that with some of these guys. As we were talking to Coach earlier in the week, he's always been, when they get in these sort of big league games, he's always looking for guys to sort of step up and help the team later on.
Well, again, strength from up and down your roster is a big reason why Washington's been able to keep this Mid-Illini win streak. You look at, remember when the last time they lost in the Mid-Illini? It was September 16th of 2022. And, John, this was what was going on last time they lost. Queen Elizabeth had just passed away. Roger Federer and Serena Williams had just retired as well. And the top song, I don't know if you're ever a big fan of Harry Styles at all, but it was As It Was by Harry Styles was the #1 song. Last time Washington lost a game in the Mid-Illini.
Jeez, I feel old.
I know.
And I'm 19, and I shouldn't feel old, but I do. So, wow, that's crazy. I mean, having a 2-year run of just pure dominance in this conference is crazy. And also, we've talked about it a lot, this conference is not an easy conference.
Yeah.
So being able to have that long of a win streak for that many years is insane. And that just shows how great and how storied a program of Washington is.
Trying to make it 23 Mid-Illini wins in a row here tonight. And undefeated the last 2 years, and when you're undefeated, you don't have to share the Mid-Illini title, which again, conference bylaws in the Mid-Illini do say that if two teams have the same record, they share the title. There is no tiebreaker, but we haven't had to worry about that in the last few years. Washington has just taken it outright. And again, East Peoria, again, they're still in the top 3 coming in tonight. They'll probably might take a slip if this result holds here, but again, they'll be still very much in the mix of things. I'm very excited to see how they come out here in the second half. What changes? Maybe they come out fired up. Are they going to roll over? I mean, what are we going to learn about this East Peoria team when they face some adversity and a tough deficit? We're going to find out here.
I'm really
after
interested
this
to see that too. Sorry for cutting you off there, John. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how East Peoria does that, especially in back-to-back weeks, right? You've had 2 really rough weeks this week and last week, obviously, against Dunlap. So I'm really interested to see if they either just lay over or if they keep on battling, right? Is it last week you battled, but you kind of slowed down a little bit?
Here's a kick return out across the 50. And a nice run back there by 14. That was Camden Westerfield Jr. First time we've called his name tonight. He's got a brother, Parker Westerfield, on the team, starting linebacker for the Panthers. So see who comes out here on offense for the Panthers. Looks like East Peoria starters still, again, in on defense. But looks like most of the main guys are out there. DC in the backfield, Garcia at quarterback. Well, this Panthers team.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how much longer you have the starters out because, right, you had a dominant win last week, but also you still want to continue to play your guys if you're Washington, right? You don't want them to get used to not playing because when you get in these big playoff games, right, you just talked about we're going up on the end of the season in playoffs over here. So I'm interested to see if how long these starters are going to stay in the game for Washington.
Here's DC, or rather, no, that was number 6. That was Jack Maley on the run and brought down by Dalton Oakman. Rare breed of quarterback who also starts as linebacker on the Raiders as well. So you don't see that too often, the quarterback playing D. And Bailey is a player, too, that we Todd Stevens said we might be seeing this week, too.
Yeah, and he's listed as a wide receiver, sort of doing that. You know, I'm sorry I've related a lot of stuff to Bears, but DJ Moore, Deebo Samuel sort of thing where he's kind of playing as the running back as well. We're starting to see that a lot more in football. I'm really interested to see where that kind of takes in the coming years as well.
And here's Evan Deasy getting a big hole, and he just got wrapped up by his jersey. Aiden Hindert was able to close his fingers on some fabric and bring him down.
That's a big tackle right there. That one looked like he was about to hit the acceleration button, and Hindert was able to stop him right there.
And Panthers knocking on the door of the red zone here again. Going back to, again, how long all these starters are going to stay in. One thing about Washington that has been working in their favor, along with many other things this year, is they've been very healthy. Hardly any injuries, and one player making a return tonight, wanted to mention, well, after this touchdown run from Evan Deasy, his first of the season, gets it from 21 yards out, and Washington now leads it by more than 40.
I mean, and that just shows how deep this team is. You're having your backup, arguably third-string running back, just break that 21 rushing touchdown like it was nothing. That just shows how talented this Washington team is, and there's a reason why they're ranked top 10 in the state.
See, the Panthers students and cheerleaders, they're all exuberant again. That'll make it a 6-score lead here in Washington. But again, got to feel good for DC, his first touchdown run of the year. Again, he was the number 2 guy last year for Washington. A lot of people assumed he was going to be kind of step into the role that Hunter Reed vacated after he graduated. Then Will Freeman decided to, change his body over the winter and become the running back. But again, Evan Deasy, again, still a contributor. Also on defense, too, as a starting linebacker. He's their leading tackler.
Yeah, kind of just a little bit of everything for this Washington team. And something that I'm really interested in is, John, I got to ask, do you think Devin Miller, if there's any more PATs, do you think he'll be able to clear that back fence? We've seen him bounce. It's like warning track power almost in football.
Yeah.
On both sides of the football field, he's been bouncing it right on that fence. So I'm really interested to see if Devin Miller can use that strong leg of his. And, we've talked about how strong his leg is. Do we think he'll be able to kick it over that field, that fence? Sorry.
Again, there's a merch stand behind the end zone that Miller is kicking to now. You get a look at it there. Great work from our camera operator, Micah Rabin over there. They might got a duck and cover. They might have some collateral damage coming in the second half if Miller keeps booting it like he's been.
Maybe they'll be able to sell a football, get Miller to sign it. Autograph football,
Hey, there is NIL technically in high school. It is legal now.
You did see it, someone that you saw really gain a lot from that was Mikey Williams when he was in high school. Maybe we could have our own version of an Illinois Mikey Williams, but he's a kicker, and he's in football. But, he's got – this is one of the strongest legs I've ever seen on a high school guy in a while.
Oh, man. Miller will boot this one away. This one will not reach the merch stand. It will reach the 5. It will be returned by Eddie Fincham, who's got an open lane and then pushed out right around the 25 there. So it'll be decent field position here for the Raiders, who, again, haven't really had the benefit of getting good field position most of the night because most times they've been getting the balls, but after a touchdown and a deep kick from Miller. So some long fields for the Raiders tonight.
Yeah, if my math and numbers are correct, that I think it's the second time that they've tried to return a kick.
One time they fumbled.
Exactly. So, you haven't been able to get great field position. Starting at the 26, 27-yard line is not terrible at all. Now I'm interested to see if Oakman and this Raiders offense can start something. They had something that go in there a little at the end of the half, so let's see if they can build off of it.
They really did. First time they got into Panther territory. Here's 3 wide receivers for Oakman, looking in the direction of Hindert. It's a deep ball and almost intercepted. Nearly having it was Owen Klein, their senior, who's already had a pick this year.
Yeah, and something that I want to see Oakman sort of develop and change over these last really 3 games and carry it over into the playoffs, if that's something that East Peoria does end up clinching, is can you in that play, he was locked in unhindered. Can he be able to look across, make his whole reads across the field instead of just specifically locking in on one receiver? Because teams, especially in the middle line, are going to notice that. And once you lock in on one dude, that's arguably where you're going to go with the ball. So I want to see if Oakland can start doing that even in this game a little bit.
See what they do on second down. It's a decent run there, and Jackson again keeping the legs churning there. Again, Jackson not a tall guy, just 5'8", but even that big pile kind of saw him kind of head bobbing up and down, always kind of moving there, and he's a tough runner. He doesn't go down very easily.
Yeah, he is someone that I think will be really important for this East Peoria team when they're still right, because it's 42-0. There's not a huge chance, but the game is not over until it's over, John. I mean, we saw a team in Washington last week put up 41 points in a quarter.
Yeah.
So it's never over until it's over. But A.J. Jackson is someone that I think can carry this team in the end of the season when they're looking to get that playoff clinching win.
An interception there by Oakman, picked off by Camden Westerfield. And a late flag comes in. Westerfield read it perfectly, was right there. We'll see if it will stand. Panthers celebrating here looks like it's probably a horse collar tackle on the Raiders, so it will remain Panther football. So again, nothing really undercover there about Westerfield, just right place, right time. That's the third pick Washington's D has gotten tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of people will say, yeah, that's happening just because Oakman is not playing the best. That's not true at all. This Washington defense, I mean, Oakman coming into this game had 2 interceptions on the season. In this game, he has 3 alone. So that just shows how great Washington's defense has been and how they've sort of been able to mess with Oakman in the mental side, right? You don't think of football as a mental game, but as a quarterback, everything is mental. You got to read them. You don't read them out loud. You got to read them mentally. So that's something that I want to see Oakman really step up in.
So East Peoria not able to score there. Still got that donut there on the scoreboard. Here's a handoff and a good stop in the backfield there by the Raiders. Mentioning donuts and seeing all those orange Johns making me think of Dunkin' Donuts. One of my favorite places to go for breakfast on the weekend sometimes.
Totally. I think it's now Dunkin', but
yeah,
still.
It is just Dunkin'. You're right. I'm dating myself.
Still, but
as if Darrell Revis wasn't enough.
Totally. But yeah. It looks like the backups are now in for Washington, but for East Peoria, it looks like the starters are still in. Someone that I'm still looking for to kind of take some positives in this game is Mason Watson. He's the leading tackler coming into this game for East Peoria and also is tied for the team lead in sacks with 2. So he's been one of those big X-factor players for East Peoria, and I want to see if he can even do something to kind of build off that and carry it into next week.
He did have some big tackles for loss in that first half. Here's a handoff. Thomas Windsor inside the 5, running to the right side. And before he's brought down. And, John, one thing I was going to mention earlier, we're talking about Washington been pretty healthy and injuries for them. They got Josh Hofer back on the offensive line. Now, Hofer's a multi-year starter, all-conference player for them as well, and also a state champion wrestler at the 215 weight class, the same class as East Peoria's Dalton Oakman, who also went to state this past year.
Yeah, John, I'm relatively new to the Mid-Illini area.
As Windsor runs it in for 6 more.
I'm relatively new to the Mid-Illini area, but I've gotten to know in my around a year and a half-ish here that Washington and wrestling are something that go very well together.
Yes.
So how crazy, right? A Washington lineman that's a position, very physical, and you can transfer a lot of that skills that you get in wrestling over to being a lineman. Has a state wrestler, and he's one of their best linemen. That's not something that surprises me and shows there's a reason why Washington is so good at football, because they have a lot of wrestlers who are physical. It's a very physical sport. So it would be a lie for me to say I'm surprised, right? Washington is known as sort of a dynasty when it comes to wrestling.
They are. They're, could argue, one of the most, if not the most successful team year after year across any sport in Central Illinois. Also got Sean Thornton, the right guard, as a wrestler for them. Wyatt and Wade Lehman, both wrestle as well. And again, East Peoria, they're also pretty good at wrestling. They got Gabe Del Toro on their team. He's also a wrestler, as well as, again, Dalton Oakman Had some good guys on that Raiders squad as well. So, again, a lot of basketball gets a lot of the love in the wintertime, but, yeah, we're going to be trying to again, cover wrestling quite a bit, too, here this winter as well. I know there's a lot of good wrestling fans out there. They are – one thing I've noticed, you mentioned one thing I've noticed in a year and a half in Central Illinois, one thing I've noticed, too, is people love their wrestling.
Yes.
I mean, anytime – which anything wrestling-wise, I mean, our CSM athletes of the week in the wintertime usually dominated by wrestlers over basketball players. So they had a great community of wrestling fans around here.
And I think that's something that's starting to grow, right? You talk about mixed martial arts and sports like that. The UFC is starting to take a really big grow. Big fight this weekend as well, tomorrow night. But that's something that I think is a reason why wrestling's going. You're seeing a lot of those successful guys be from the wrestling background. Right, you've seen a lot of these champs be from that wrestling background, so I think it's another reason why wrestling is starting to get really big and popular as well.
For sure. Also on the girls' side, too, there's some girls' wrestling teams sprouting up at some of these schools, too, especially for Washington and East Peoria, both two of them. Kick is brought in there by Hindert at around the 7, and the first guy to him is eventually going to wrap him up. Looks like that was Charlie Anthony there on the tackle for the Panthers. So, again, 49-0, running clock portion here in the third quarter. And, again, I know some people probably expected a running clock tonight, maybe especially if you're a Washington fan. If you're East Peoria, you probably didn't want to see it in the third quarter at least. I think it comes down to, again, not being able to finish those drives back in the first half.
Yes. Yeah, totally. You hit it right, the nail on the coffin right there with, I thought, East Peoria was going to be able to build off. They had even though the scoreboard says 0, it's kind of what we talked about earlier. It's like 0-2 with the Chiefs earlier in this season. It's a very different 0. They could have, honestly, I'm comfortable saying 14 or 21 points up on this scoreboard because of how well they've played. So I'm really interested to see if they can kind of get some points on the scoreboard tonight.
And they're trying to avoid a shutout for the second straight week. Oakman looking for it all. Hindered almost brought it in. There's a lot of pushing and shoving going on with him and Zeke Woods back there, it appeared.
Very physical play right there. But we saw this. This is something that I like about, officiating. It's something that gets constantly talked trash about and shade on throughout the whole football season, and something that I want to see with all refs is consistency, and you've seen that with these guys. We saw it early on in the game. It was going to be a very physical game, and the refs have stood by that. That was a very physical play right there, and the refs stood by their physical play that they let play in the first quarter, not changing just because of the score of the game.
And, yeah, one thing we've seen from Oakman, too, is he has been really throwing it down the field a lot tonight. Not a lot of underneath stuff.
No.
That's kind of what this East Peoria offense is. As here's the give that's going to end after about a gain of about a yard or two. About 15 players in there in that big old scrum. Now is R.J. Jackson there on the carry again. Talking about Jackson, last season, again, as a sophomore, was their starter at 848 yards, 7 touchdowns, just over 6 yards per carry. Coming into tonight, he had 729. So, again, he is going to be close. If he's not able to get there tonight, he's going to be close to probably exceeding his season rush total from last year through about 6 or 7 games this year. And Oakman trying to go for Keemon Lee, and it's overthrown.
Yeah, and you're seeing Keemon Lee is starting to get visibly frustrated with himself and today, and that's something, right, even though you're losing in this game as a coach, that's something that you see, right? I told you I kind of help out with the Bradley women's basketball team. D1 level athletes, coaches still preach the basic stuff. We don't want to see a lot of emotion from you when you make a mental mistake or something like that. And you're seeing it here, right? As a coach, even though you're losing, the scoreboard's 49-0, you don't want to see a lot of emotion when you make a lot of mental mistakes. Just flush it and let it go by, and that's something that they're going to learn. This East Peoria team is a young team. R.J. Jackson, who's one of their best players, is a junior, and he's having a career year right now. And wow.
And a big punt there for the Raiders. On a boot there from Vaughn. It's going to be picked up. No, it's going to roll into the end zone for a touchback. Oh, what a boot
that would have been.
Ball was on the 22. That's going to go as a 78-yarder for Landon Vaughn. That is the longest that I have seen this year, John. So, hey, small positive there for East Peoria. Punt game
And you almost
Showing
got a very, very friendly East Peoria roll there. It looked like it was about to stop, and there
He
must have
put
been
some backspin on it.
Yeah, there must have been some different sort of turf rubber pellets or whatever those black things are in the turf that made the ball roll a little bit, because right when it got in the end zone, literally stopped moving. So that's kind of the definition of how East Peoria's game has been, just a little unlucky. But no, that was a boot, and this is the first drive that Washington has started inside their 30-yard line. So that just also shows how great they've been on the defensive side of the ball, where you've been able to start and have the ball on the plus side of the 40 basically every drive until this one, and we're a minute left in the third quarter.
And they've been able to take advantage of short fields. Again, short fields usually lead to quick scores. Quick scores lead to lots of points. That's why they're at 49-zip right now. So, again, it looks like backups in for Washington. New quarterback, Gabe Emmendorfer, taking snaps. We've seen Emmendorfer this season as a return man. He's a sophomore wide receiver and defensive back. Also plays a little bit starter on their JV team as well. So he's a guy we'll have to keep an eye on over the next few years. So we'll take over here at the 20.
As you see some fireworks over there in the background.
Yeah, it's homecoming weekend.
Homecoming, yeah, got to celebrate.
I'm not sure if that's from homecoming or maybe just a Panthers fan doing some premature celebrating. Again, they're in control here. Handoff. And a nice hole opened up by the offensive line. And on the carry, that was Anson Zeiser. They are on the carry for Washington. So, again, we talk about all the deepness of the ball carriers. There's those first four with Freeman, DC, Mack, also Noah Garcia. There's been a lot of guys, too, that have gotten carries in recent weeks, especially when Washington's been up big. Zeiser's been one of them. We saw Thomas Windsor score a touchdown. Connor Hurd also get some carries. Emmendorfer, Ian Merrick, Caleb Barrick as well. So, I mean, there's really about – you look at the stat sheet, there's about 10 or 11 guys that have ran the football for Washington so far this season.
Yeah, it's something that Coach was he knew. He said there is about 4 guys. This team runs around 4 or 3 guys deep at the running back position, and we're seeing that today, right? It looks like all 3 of these guys have been able to hit that gap, hit that sort of second boost of speed that running backs are known to have. And it showed on that first play, right? You were able to get a very solid gain on that.
And time is going to tick down here in this third quarter. We're going to head to the fourth. Washington looking to put the cap on a big victory and move to 5-1. We'll be right back after this on CIProud.com.
Are you taking too much risk with your retirement or not enough? Most people aren't sure. That's why we created the Risk Quiz. In just a few minutes, it helps you understand your personal risk tolerance. Your risk score could reveal why your current investments might feel too aggressive or too conservative. It's simple, fast, and can be eye-opening. Scan the QR code or go to twarisk.com to take the quiz and find out if your money matches your mindset.
Welcome to Sam Lehman of Morton. We're the #1 Ram truck dealer in Illinois and the largest Ram dealer in the Midwest.
Stop in today and explore our impressive inventory. With over 400 vehicles in stock and more online, we can't wait to find the perfect vehicle for you.
Chrysler, Dodge,
Jeep,
Ram, and more pre-owned options.
It's all waiting for you right here at Sam Lehman of Morton, where we do the deals no one else will.
Running clock time here in Babcock Field, but a lot of the young fans having something to cheer and have fun about was the much anticipated football toss from the cheerleaders. And a lot of young fans going to head home with some souvenirs tonight.
Yeah, it looks like it's a very physical, almost like an R.J. Jackson sort of run play on that first row of the stands. As all these little kids and little fans are jumping around.
Oh, we talked about wrestling and MMA. Well, there's some of it going on between the stands. Everyone wants those footballs. That was one of my fondest memories as a kid. Back when I used to live in the Quad Cities, went to Rock Island football games, and I always was trying to get those footballs they threw into the stands, and told my dad, hey, we got to sit a little bit closer because if we sit near the top, all due respect to those cheerleaders, but they're probably not going to make it up here to the top row, so we got to sit at least within throwing distance of them.
Yeah, that's something, you know, I'm not going to lie. That's something I still do when I go to White Sox games.
Yeah.
When they have that T-shirt toss and if I'm in throwing range, I'm fighting for that shirt. My pajama shirt that I actually wear is a shirt that I got at one of the games. So, I still wear that stuff with me daily.
Here's a big run. Ian Merrick in wide open space. He's going to take it to the house. 8th touchdown of the night, and it's the longest one for the Panthers, 54 yards for, again, Ian Merrick, his first carry of the game for the junior.
Well, that's a great way to start. I got up to 55, and I mean, 1 carry, 1 touchdown. That's pretty efficient. This was like A.J. Jones as a running back.
Yeah, A.J. Jones going to have a pretty easy night. James Johnson as well. But, again, John, looking forward, what we saw from Washington tonight, again, we saw Jones had that big touchdown, an amazing grab that was called off from a penalty. Jones and Johnson both looked good. Again, obviously the running game is doing their thing as well. So, again, a Washington team that just, again, is really looking dangerous for any team that dares to step in their way.
And it looks like the question with these teams like Washington, right, who run the ball a lot, is can they make passing attempts? And it looks like James Johnson and Noah Garcia are starting to build a connection, right? Coach was telling us going into this week that is someone who could be having a big impact on us coming down to the end of the season, and we saw that today. James Johnson had a big impact when he was making his plays, and A.J. Jones looks like he knows his sort of his fit, his job. He's sort of the Tutu Atwell, right? I just watched the Rams last night, so that's the first guy that comes to my mind.
Hey, by the way, all name team right there.
Exactly.
Love that guy's name.
Exactly. And Tutu Atwell has sort of had that realization of, I am a guy who is going to make those big plays. He saw it last week against the Rams, and then this past week he made a big play for the Rams to get inside the red zone. So something that I think A.J. Jones could be very similar to this Washington team.
For sure. Most definitely. Looking forward to seeing this Washington team potentially in the playoffs. Again, if you can, again, they're going to get this win here tonight.
Yeah.
Now the next step for them is, again, get enough wins to, at least for them, hopefully host a first-round playoff game. Usually 7 wins most of the time will get you there unless you play a very weak schedule, which Washington hasn't really done. Again, they played Niles Notre Dame and Troy Triad in the non-conference portion of their schedule. They lost to Niles Notre Dame 13-12 back in week 1 and beat Triad in week 2 as Fincham returns this out to about the 25 or so. But, yeah, looking forward to, again, seeing how it unfolds. Again, looking up, it's coming ahead on CSM Overtime. I'm going to have some playoff bracketology forecasting the brackets for all 8 classes over the next few weeks. So, looking forward to doing that. But taking a look at, again, some of the other games going on tonight, John. Normal Community in Bloomington's a barn burner, 49-42. Community leads at the end of the third quarter.
That's a
that
great
one
game.
Nearing 100 points total in that one. Bloomington recovered an onside kick and scored on the ensuing play to cut it to a 1-score game. So that one is close. Normal West, also down in the Twin Cities, leads a close one against Waubonsee Valley, 19-14 in that one. Also did eventually get a halftime score from Morton. Potters were leading it 34-8 over Limestone at the half. So here's first play for the Raiders, and right there making a big stop, Mason Phillips. And John Asher getting the carry for the Raiders.
Yeah, so now the backups are starting to get in for East Peoria, but I'm interested to see, right, if there's anyone that, may sort of prove to coach that, hey, yeah, I know this is mostly the backups for Washington, but I can still be an effective player for you, coach, in the season, right? Is now East Peoria goes into next week still trying to get that playoff spot. So East Peoria has positioned themselves really well to get that last playoff, to get a playoff spot and get a competitive season in a really successful second season under head coach.
Here's a 2nd and 12 after that loss of 2 on first down. A new quarterback in for East Peoria. That's Trevin Seeley, the junior for them. And looking ahead for East Peoria, this is what's coming up for them. 3 weeks to try and get 1 win to go into the playoffs. They're at Morton next week, and Morton is, or has been at least, without their starting quarterback Isaac Davis. They've lost 2 in a row coming into tonight. So it's the game that potentially maybe there's an opportunity there for the Raiders. Then you look Metamora week 8. Redbirds looking good right now, but again, maybe not quite the dominant machine that Washington is. Then you got Pekin, who is going to be without Dylan Anderson for that game and the rest of the season. Their dynamic wide receiver, unfortunately, knee injury is going to knock him out. So Dragons will also be, they might be 4-4 looking for a playoff spot. That East Peoria Pekin game could be winner makes it in, loser might not make it. We'll just see. Again, it could unfold any which direction.
Yeah, and East Peoria has, right, you got through the heart. I feel like this is not no shot at Pekin or Morton or anyone in Metamora. Not really a shot, but this is Washington and Dunlap are arguably the two best teams, not only in the conference, in the state, in 6A specifically. You got placed with the two hardest teams in the conference back-to-back weeks. That's a really, really rough turnout for East Peoria. So right now you have the quote-unquote, it's not easier, but it is in a sense of the rankings sense. So I'm really interested because, right, you've had two really battle-tested games, and now you sort of go on that quote-unquote easier. Is it? Wow.
Another big punt from Vaughn. He is stealing the show and interrupting us with our big punts. That one is going to go for about 58 or so. So he's got a 58 and a 78-yarder
nice
so
punts.
far. But let's take a look again. Look at Washington's schedule. Next week, John, game of the year potentially in the Mid-Atlantic is Washington at Dunlap, I believe. I think you're
I will be calling that one.
On that one again, you can watch that game on CIProud.com. Won't be a Clutch Sports media production, but again, you can watch that again on WMBD's website. So make sure to tune in for that. We'll also have one of our games too as well here. Then you got Canton and Morton to finish it out. But again, that's probably going to be likely a 6-0 Dunlap team taking on a 5-1 or a 6-0, 5-1 Washington team. Excuse me, because Dunlap playing Canton tonight, and unless a miracle happened, Eagles should probably win that one.
That game, John, if you have popcorn, that game is going to be. I am very, very excited for that game. Two teams, right? I've watched a lot of Dunlap this year. Two teams that play very similar styles in the sense of a physical game.
And here's another good run by the Washington reserves. We see who that was as Caden Park getting the carry, the sophomore there. So again, that Dunlap-Washington game next week, John, that one might be first 1 to 10 with how good those defenses are.
Yes, I mean, I would arguably say that Dunlap has the best front seven in the state. With Tizzy, with Max Sutter on the edge. I mean, what else do you need, right? And you have a good, solid D-line. And Dunlap, you know how physical they are and how long you've been around here in this sort of Mid-Illini area. You know how physical both of these teams are. And tonight, Washington, I mean, showed their physical dominance tonight. So it is going to be a great Mid-Illini clash. And arguably, depending on how the rest of the season goes, could be a title Mid-Illini Conference Championship game in a sense, right? Not like a Big Ten Championship game where it's after the season. In the regular season could be arguably a Mid-Illini Conference Championship game. So, yeah, it's going to be a great game. And the atmosphere there at Dunlap, you've been to Dunlap. You know how that is.
Yep, and it should be a good one. As some of the fans heading for the exits here, there's under 5 to go. But, one thing about, again, talking about that Dunlap-Washington, the only thing that is concerned me about Dunlap so far, again, is just overall their strength of schedule, right? And you can make the same case for East Peoria, too. Again, they're 4-1, but to be completely honest, the teams that they have beaten, not typically that great. They haven't won many games themselves. So, again, that's the one thing East Peoria is looking to improve is, again, getting that big win against a team that, again, plays a little bit tougher, but again, Dunlap, they got Galesburg and Rock Island, two teams in the Western Big Six that have an uphill battle to make the playoffs. That Pekin win was a good one. That one, I think, was definitely their best one, the one they proved the most so far, winning it in overtime. Wasn't a dominant win, but they pulled it out. Then they, obviously, the last 2 weeks have played Limestone and East Peoria. So, again, Washington will be the first big test of the season for Dunlap, and I'm curious to see if the Eagles, how they will respond and how much they'll be ready for it.
Yeah, and it's definitely a big step up, and this is no shot at Pekin at all. But this is I mean, you're giving up 10 points a game. This is a different game when you're playing Washington.
And a quick run to the outside there. Thomas Windsor again. Windsor's got some speed to him. We saw that there. And on that touchdown run as well. Again, the touchdown totals tonight. Will Freeman's got 4. Noah Garcia's got 1. Evan Deasy's got 1. Thomas Windsor has 1. And Ian Merrick also has 1 as well. So John, looking at the clock, looking at the score, Washington would need 2 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes to score more than they did last week. And coming into tonight, each week they had scored more than what they did last week. That streak might end here tonight, but you never know what could happen.
It's crazy to even think that they have a shot at this, but that just shows, right, when you think of Washington, you think of dominant defense, low-scoring games, but the past 2 weeks, I mean, they're getting close to 60 again. Back-to-back week 6, almost, I mean, the game's not over, almost 60 and then 60-plus points in another week. So this Washington offense is looking really good, especially, right, I know we've talked about it a lot, going into arguably their biggest game of the season in next week, and Dunlap in a very physical game. So, yeah, this game is lining up to be, right, arguably one of those college game day sort of atmospheres. You know what the atmosphere is like. You've been at Dunlap before.
I was down at Big Noon Kickoff, as a matter of fact. First time it was ever at Illinois on Saturday. That was a lot of fun. You ever been to one of those shows, John?
Sadly, no.
I'll have to bring you down sometime. They're coming back for Ohio State.
I am a big college game day stand. I like Big Noon Kickoff. I'm not against it, right? It brought some attention to our Illini.
Yep.
But I am definitely a little bit more towards the college game day. I'm very excited for this Vanderbilt-Alabama game tomorrow. That atmosphere in Tuscaloosa will be ecstatic, especially with Vanderbilt was able to beat them last year at Vanderbilt in Nashville. So, yeah, this is a very exciting game atmosphere. And Dunlap, right? You know that atmosphere there is going to be Washington. You know those fans are going to make those trips. These are one of the most loyal fan bases in the conference that will be dueling.
For sure. Yeah, I would definitely agree. I'm definitely more of a college game day guy myself.
Yes.
I hated to see Lee Corso go. Kirk Herbstreit, one of my favorite analysts, if not media figures anywhere.
And then
I also love his dogs, too.
Yeah,
That's
Peter, and R.I.P. Ben.
R.I.P. Ben Herbstreit. Gotta shout out the good boys that have gone on to a past life now here on the Clutch Sports Media broadcast.
And someone else that I mean, I feel like a lot of people say has saved college game day. Pat McAfee. I mean, you're doing picks and you're jumping off a diving board into Speedo at my University of Miami.
That's a little over the top for me. I mean, it is a little nuts. I know some people like him, some people don't. I'm kind of in the middle about him, but
he definitely makes the shirt usually comes off every time he makes a pick. Usually the college kids, especially with those college kids, mostly men, they're gonna start yelling and they're gonna want the shirt off, and McAfee delivers. That's why a lot of the college kids love him is because he delivers to the backup, take that shirt off.
Well, the shirts are going to stay on for everyone here in the stands at Washington, but they are going to celebrate a big win on homecoming, 56-0. The Panthers are playoff eligible again. Raiders fall to 4-2, and they will look to bounce back again next week. But a dominant performance from the Panthers. We'll wrap things up here right after a quick break here on CIProud.com.
Champions aren't just made on the scoreboard. They're built through teamwork, leadership, and setting an example that makes us all proud. Turks Collision Center is proud to celebrate the student athletes of Central Illinois because their victories reach far beyond the game.
Every Sunday morning, we shine a light on the stories that often go untold but matter the most. Stories told by the people who live it, rooted in community, rich in story. Join me, Thomas Garbrick, Sunday mornings right here at 7 on WMBD, Central Illinois Proud.
Big win for the Panthers, 69 points in Week 5, 56 here in Week 6. Dominant showing for them here tonight. John, overall takeaways from this one, you had to give an MVP for this game. Who is your choice? Kind of putting you on the spot.
I mean, there's so many. I feel like I got to go with Will Freeman. I mean, 4 touchdowns in one quarter. I feel like
set the tone.
You really did set the tone. But, right, Joe Smith also on the defensive side of the ball, making a pick, some big tackles. Also, punting, like he was kind of doing a little bit of everything. So if I had to pick one, I would probably go with Will Freeman just because you really set the tone of this game and how it was going to go.
For sure. Great all-around performance from the Panthers. Again, Freeman has 4 touchdowns, up to 10 now on the season. Noah Garcia, how about that touchdown rush that he had, that crazy one. High mileage, found the end zone. Evan Deasy, Thomas Windsor, Ian Merrick adding touchdowns in the second half as well. For East Peoria, again, second straight week getting shut out. And this is a learning experience for them and Dalton Oakman and R.J. Jackson, but you can see it. It wasn't enough to get them on the scoreboard tonight, but you can see the talented Jackson.
Yes.
You can see the arm of Oakman. They are right there. And again, just one big performance away from perhaps one of the most memorable wins of any school that in this area would have if they're able to get that 5th here.
Yeah, you saw R.J. Jackson was able to rip a 22-yard run today. You saw that sort of explosiveness. He was carrying guys when he was getting tackled as well. So he's done a great job. Even though Ryder was 56-0, he was able to carry and do a great job of even though this East Peoria offense didn't score any points, he was definitely a very bright spot for them tonight.
It certainly was. It was a lot of fun being here tonight here in Washington, and thank you as well for tuning in. Well, stay tuned to our social media channels, and we'll announce early next week where we'll be next Friday for our WMBD Game of the Week here on CIProud.com. I want to thank all of our Clutch Sports Media crew, Mark Wagner and Gabe Haloka, making his directing debut tonight, Gabe is, and also want to thank our camera operators, Nicholas Yosefi and Micah Rabin as well. I want to thank Joey Wright and Rodrigo Perez for their help making our wonderful graphics you saw on your screen tonight as well. And for my broadcast partner, John Chakota, I'm Jonathan Michael saying so long and good night from Dubtown. Washington shuts out East Peoria on homecoming and will play in the playoffs. So long, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend.